Hello there, everybody, and welcome back to the Reading Room. I am Mark Reed, and you are at Mark Reed Atheism. Today we're doing AIMBOT again because we love it and we want to be here for it. And are you morally bankrupt or them? The open room. Now, I will do the open room in a second. I will put the link up in a sec. I usually have a bit of a rant before that, and this one is sort of really close to my heart. Basically, this one is a problem that I have seen, and I'm appalled. So I talked briefly about this what had happened in Australia with this sort of protest, and I will get the thing. I want to share this with you. This was taken from Nine News, but I want to talk about it because there's been a lot of people online um, sort of um, sort of saying, hey, it's not as bad as that. It's not a Nazi rally. It's not all of these things. I beg to differ. I really beg to differ. And a lot of people going, well, they're not racist. Look, I had one comment that was like, it's not that the people are racist. And my answer to that was, if you are participating in a rally that was organized by racists, the racists have a platform to speak, right? They're speaking at your rally, and they're marching front and center behind the banner of your rally. Then you may not have a racist ideology, but you are participating in racism. Like, this is what we've got to understand, that you know stop. Like, you can't say no racism when you're participating in a racist exercise. But I want to go through this, and I'll just sort of speed it up a bit because it is like 3 minutes long. But I want to go through this and sort of show you. And what really makes me upset is that people are marching under the Australian flag like it's representative of the Australian experience. Not cool, man. Not cool. Listen, mate, not cool.
At least it started.
Interestingly enough, you'll see that is the Aboriginal flag, right? That is Aboriginal colours, or Native Australian First Nation colours. This is First Nation colours. So, if you don't get what I mentioned this before, there was a what was it called? March for Australia. Now, March for Australia was basically an anti-immigration march, which already sounds a bit racist, but like this person's got to understand that in the eyes of the people who organized the march, they're not included, right? They want white Australia, not Indigenous Australia. Like, this is the thing. I don't think you are a racist, but you are participating in it. You are at a racist rally. I'm really sorry, but that's where you are.
Started as planned. Thousands at Belmore Park, all united under a forest of Australian flags.
We're not a racist country. We just want a good calibre of people in here.
A good caliber of people, and I wonder what caliber, like what calibration you're looking for there is what I wonder. That is really what I wonder. Because I get the feeling that it's sort of European. Let's just put it that way. Oof.
They were calling for limits or an end to migration. You don't hate migrants?
No, of course not. I am a migrant. Family came here 100 years ago from Italy.
Love migration.
Then I don't know why you'd be against migration if you are the descendant of migrants, and it's baffling to me. Like, what?
Okay, I'm from a family of immigrants as well. The point is, how many you bring in the country? Where do you house them?
There was a huge...
Look, so there's sort of a conversation to be had about, like, housing. There isn't enough housing in Australia. There's a housing crisis. We're all aware of it. But blaming the migrants, like, we've got to differentiate between people migrating and refugees and people moving here and overseas company buying up houses, right? Like, there is a big difference between the two. And A lot of people who are migrants to Australia, they work in the housing industry. So, getting rid of them is not a thing. Like, there's a conversation to be had on migration and what kind of criteria you have for people moving to the country. Sure. But this isn't that. This is stop migration, right? Which is, it is a sort of moving of the goalpost to go to a stop migration rally and then go, well, I'm concerned about their caliber. No, that's not what you are at. You may think you're at a, hey, let's talk about migration rally. You're not. You're at a stop migration rally. It's wild. It's absolutely wild.
Police presence, several hundred funneling the march down Broadway.
There were fears today's march would be hijacked by neo-Nazi hate groups.
Hang on, I'll just get my marker here because I got a new tool and I want to check it out. Yeah, marker. Okay. They're the neo-Nazi hate groups. Right, those guys. Actually, all of those guys. Okay, so that's in Melbourne. Sorry, that's in Sydney. All of those guys are literally the neo-Nazis. And I'll prove that to you a bit later. Okay, so one of the comments that somebody sent me was, oh, they weren't marching behind Nazis, they were marching alongside them. And it's like, A, is that any better? Is that any better? B, they're like front and center behind the banner. Okay? Your march has Nazis front and center behind the banner. At that point, you're participating in that. Right, you are culpable in that. You are giving these people a platform, and they seem to be the ones who organised it. And I'll show you evidence for that as well. But that is the people right there. That is the people right there.
There they were, front and centre, leading the march and blindsiding organisers, the men in black.
I'm not sure that they blindsided organisers. I think that there are these groups that are far right but fall short of Nazis, but they work with them. They're very aware of who they are, what they want, and they still work with them. At that point, you are just as bad as they are, quite frankly. They do work with them, and I'll show you evidence of
Members of the White Australia group. The leader is Jack Eltis.
But we're here because
Jack Eltis. Neo-Nazi. Yep.
immigration is our key political issue.
Are you racist?
Yeah, we're racist. Yeah, we're racist.
And why is that a good thing?
We're proud of who we are. We're proud of who we are as white men. We built this nation. All the men in our organisation are proud to be racist.
Are you neo-Nazis?
Yes.
Okay, so white man didn't build this nation. That is not true. There was a long history of sort of colonialism. So this, they basically took this place because, that's what the English did at the time. I'm not to blame for that, but I am responsible for making it a more equitable country for the people who were here when the Europeans came here. And I've got a whole spiel on that. I'll save that. But there has been, this country was built not only by the original settlers, but also by a lot of immigrants, a lot of stonemasons from Italy, a lot of Irish people coming in who, I might add, weren't considered white originally. There was a lot of people from countries in Asia that came in and helped build the country. It has been the story of a whole bunch of people coming from around the world and building it up to what it is today. They just want to say, hey, it was all white man. White man great. It was all white. It wasn't all white man. And it depends what you feel by white man, because when they say it, they're talking about Anglo-Saxon and Aryan nations, not all of the, Italians, Macedonians. There's a ton of people with a lot of history of helping us become the nation we are. And to sort of just brush that away, let's face it, Australia was a penal colony. The idea that white men made it what it was, what it was supposed to be, was a place to put people to forget about them. This is horrible. This is absolutely horrible.
Down Broadway to Victoria Park at Camperdown.
The front of them.
And look, there was a lot of people here. They're saying 15,000. Independent sources say there's 10,000. Considering that's like, you know, led in front and center by neo-Nazis, you know, about 20 of them, that's like 10,000 too many. Seriously.
March might have presented one picture, but the bulk of those marching today, those coming in from behind, appear to be anything but extremist.
But at the end, an open mic session, and that's when the White Australia group seized control.
This land was built by white Australians.
So this is one of your keynote speakers, right? Like, you can't have a rally organized by fascists, spoken, you know, given a platform to speak at your rally, and then say, well, it's not a fascist rally. No, you were at a fascist rally, you just didn't think it was a fascist rally. But instead of saying, hey, I made a terrible mistake, this is awful, and I better back off right now, they're doubling down on it, saying, well, I wasn't the one that... It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
With every comment, there was more disquiet in the crowd.
These ethnics have formed enclaves, and now we can't even go there at our own lands.
It was a hate speech.
You can go there. It's not a problem. Like, seriously. I've been to, like, you know, this is the thing. Like, the sort of, you know, what we would call, you know, the Chinatown, quote unquote, that sort of, you know, place in Perth where a lot of Asian business are. It's totally fine. Like, it's totally fine. What he's trying to say is you can't go there and spew racist rhetoric at them without them getting angry. Well, no shit. Like, are you a moron? Yeah, you can't do that. Nobody likes it. In fact, the, you know, white people that are around will not like it. Nobody likes it. The disquiet grows. Yeah, the disquiet grows, but they're not leaving. That's the thing. If I was there, if I had gone to a rally thinking, oh, this is just to protest X, and someone started speaking that crap, I would be out of there. I'd be like, no, I can't do this. This is ridiculous. But no, they're still there.
And wasn't winning over the majority.
Send them back. No debate, no discussion. We want to send them back to their lands.
When he finished, police ushered the group away. They were later spotted changing from their black garb into ordinary street clothes. A few blocks away, a march by the Refugee Action Coalition.
Yeah, so there was basically a counter protest. The Refugee Action Coalition had been doing marches all week, kind of thing. So this was a continuation of their stuff for Free Palestine. But yeah, this was in Melbourne, and it kind of came to a head.
A counter protest that condemned the White Australia group.
The poisonous rhetoric that we're seeing from March for Australia today, trying to tap into.
Yeah, so this is, I believe Gadigal is Sydney land. That's Sydney. So Gadigal is the native Australian tribe that originally was in Sydney. And we're all immigrants. Yeah, everybody moved here from somewhere else. That's the thing. And that's the thing to remember. If you go back far enough, like, you know, everybody's an immigrant to the land, because sort of out of Africa, everyone's an immigrant. Everybody came here. Nobody, like, is, you know, nobody has a, oh, well, this is our place. You know, come on. And if your argument is, hey, this is white Australia because we were here first, well, guess what, buddy? You weren't. So, yeah.
People's legitimate fears about the lack of housing, about rising cost of living, and blaming migrants, blaming refugees.
This is a dog whistle towards Nazis. These people are standing with Nazis, and I will not stand for it.
Trying to be disguised as something patriotic when they're actually something quite hateful.
In Melbourne, there was violence.
Okay, so that is the group of neo-Nazis just bashing somebody.
Thousands clashing in the CBD as the March for Australia protesters clashed with pro-Palestinian marchers. An Australian flag was burned.
Oh, who cares? I don't give a shit. You know, look, abolish Australia. Ugh, that is sovereign. See, that there is sovereign citizen language, right? So you had all of these groups that are sort of disparate, but brought together by the Nazis to protest, kind of thing. And this is disgusting. Abolish Australia.
A woman body slammed as violence escalated, and leading the March for Australia rally and given a prime speaking spot, notorious neo-Nazi Thomas Sewell.
We don't have a name.
Yeah, this is Thomas Sewell, and he'll come into it. So it is sort of, he was part of the group that sort of got this up and running. And we know this, and I do have sort of evidence of that. But that guy is appalling. Absolutely appalling.
At the moment, we've got a halfway house for the world.
Police caught in the middle.
The police are doing the most fantastic job, keeping us away. We're trying to do a march once. They're here every single weekend.
And in Adelaide, in a sea of flags, a disturbing nod to fugitive gunman Desi Freeman, on the run after allegedly killing 2 police officers on a property in Victoria.
Yeah, so Desi Freeman is a sovereign citizen. So this has links to the sovereign citizen movement, which, like, okay, so I want you to think about this, right? Sovereign citizens are basically saying, hey, we are free people on the land when rules don't apply to us. And they've gone to a march organized by fascists, right? Like, if you want to be a free person on the land, fascism is not the way to go. That is disgusting. That is disgusting. And I'll tell you why. That is a union flag. Right? That is a trade union flag. That is the flag that they used at the Eureka Stockade and has been the flag of union power ever since. So I want to make this perfectly clear. You should be fucking ashamed of yourself. Absolutely ashamed of yourself. That is disgusting, because like a march organized by fascists being attended by a social movement like the unions is disgusting. That pisses me right off. Because the union doesn't see race, it doesn't see religion, it doesn't see anything. It just supports workers, whoever the worker is. That is gross. And whoever's flying that should be fucking ashamed of themselves. That pisses me right off. Because, you know, we're talking about 2 ideologies. We're talking about socialism, being the unions, that is a social movement, versus fascism, which is the exact opposite. It is the state. So this is wild.
Mark Burrows, 9.
Yeah, and that's sort of that one. Now, who organized the march? And so a couple of the comments that came back to me was like, oh, but it wasn't these people that organized it. And my question is, wasn't it? We don't know exactly who organized it, but this was the person that took out the this is Beck Freedom. She took out the permit to march, so she is one of the organizers, right? Like, she is 100% one of the organizers. This is what she said to the press at one point. Oh, I cannot hear that. So you cannot
riots,
hear that.
and this was a conversation that happened recently, correct?
It was about a month ago now.
Yeah, and was talking about the lead up to August 31, and you were reflecting on the Cronulla riots. So let me play the longer clip, because you say it's taken out of context.
I just want to add to the, because I heard you say, and sorry, I might have misheard you because I've got the baby in the bath at the moment. But I heard you say, like, we don't necessarily want it to happen again. I just want to cover what I said before. When I'm saying that I think it needs to happen again, I'm not condoning the violence part of it, right? Like, rewatching footage of it just before this space and seeing the 2 first guys, the Arabs that got smashed first off, right? 2 guys, I reckon they were there to cause trouble, but they claimed that they were there to support Australia. Whether or not they were, we're never going to know.
Well, I mean, you could try talking to them. That's a good idea. They were absolutely assaulted. So basically, it was their own people turned on. So some people turned up to their rally of Arabic descent, and they were basically attacked by the very people they were trying to get behind. So this is what I'm saying. There's no place for you in their movement. Like, that's the thing. If you want democracy, there's no place for you in their movement. The thing is that these groups, they are not above using the tools of democracy to destroy democracy, right? They will use protests in order to get power to crush protests. They are not interested in you having your say. They are not interested in, you know, a fairness between people protesting. They're not interested in that.
And I actually felt bad for them. Watching that again just before, I felt bad for them because out of nowhere, they got smashed. They got slaughtered. And I do feel bad for them. However, the reason I'm saying I feel it needs to happen is because we need violence. I'm sorry, but we need violence. We've done peaceful. Peaceful hasn't done I don't think that anything significant is going to change unless something like that does happen again. And it's but it's just the facts. Like it's yeah. Until we stand up and do something like that day, I think that it's just going to be repeating.
Beck, that's you saying we need violence.
To make people realise how bad the situation is that we're in. Now, I actually...
Yeah, no, the situation is not that bad. And even if the situation was really bad, the housing crisis, I get that. It's not the fault of migrants. That's the thing. You're blaming the wrong people. But, you know, they're the people you don't like. So you blame them.
Just didn't realise which space that was. That space is actually from about 3 months ago. It was one that was focused completely on the Cronulla riots. It was hosted by somebody called Wokebuster.
It was a discussion about the need to make a big statement, and you were saying we need violence. Nothing is going to change unless that happens again.
Yeah, so that's basically what
record high gold prices. Yeah, they.
I didn't want that. I did have a link. Let's see if I can find it. I had a link for her. Yeah, here we go. I'll share this. Yeah. Okay, so this is Beck Freedom. This is the kind of thing, and that March for March for what was it? March for Australia. Who's behind it? She is the one that led it. Beck Freedom, also known as Beck Walker. I don't know if that's a real name or not. Sort of, this is the kind of rhetoric they had, but I wanna show you something that sort of that piqued my interest. Here we go, and I want you to listen to this. This is the Beck Freedom person that organised it, and the way that she talks. Okay, this is the way she talks.
Yeah, there's a lot of people trying to claim the rally as their own and turn it into a unity march. I think, look, the messaging, we just need to, and look, I understand why some people are saying, oh, it's not about race. Though people like that, they're scared. But if we break it down, this is how I tried to explain it to somebody. I said, okay, so protect Australian heritage, culture, way of life. The next step, protect European culture, heritage, way of life. The next step is protect white heritage. So it all means the same thing. It's just different ways to put it. Australian heritage, by saying it that way, it is more appealing to the public. It's going to deter them from saying, oh, it's a Nazi rally, blah, blah, blah. That's all it means. Australian is white, is European white. Like it's I don't understand.
Okay, that's fucked, right? So that is terrible. That is basically saying, yes, like, I'm not racist, but here's something racist. She's basically saying that Australia is white. That is what Australia is, and it's not. That is not it. Look, I got a mate, Ian Chen. He is more Australian than I am, quite frankly. Like, seriously. You know, he's of immigrant descent. And when they say immigrant, it's like, you know, yeah, it just means that your parents came over later than the people that came over in the ships originally. I don't understand why it's a big deal. Why it's a big deal. Oh yeah, so this was oh, you're just going to call me a bitch. Yeah, no, this was the moron that's basically saying, hey, they're not marching behind Nazis, they're marching beside them. Well, if you can't acknowledge facts and evidence, that's not my problem. I am presenting the actual facts of the matter. If you want to be a dummy that is completely completely wrong on something, you keep going. I will look at objective evidence and decide for myself. This is the person that organised the rallies, talking about how, it's a lot more appealing if you say Australian heritage than white heritage. Right? Like, I'm really sorry, but if you want to put your head in the sand, like, I'm going on about this because literally these people were at a rally organised by Nazis, led by Nazis, spoken to by Nazis, and they say we weren't in a Nazi rally. Explain to me how that works. Explain to me. But instead of going, hey, we were wrong to go on this thing, that was, we thought it was something else. We're sorry we supported these people. They shouldn't be supported. You fucking double down. You just go, oh no, it wasn't a Nazi rally, honestly. Instead of saying, hey, I made a fucking mistake. I shouldn't have been there because I didn't want to support these people. You double down on it. This is how they hide in plain sight. This is how they normalize this shit. This is how they go, oh, but all of these people support our cause. They are hijacking you to support fascism because you won't actually go, well, I made a mistake. How crazy is that? Like, I totally understand. There's a lot of people who made a mistake by showing up. They thought they were going to a rally calling for conversation about immigration, and they ended up at a Nazi rally. I get it, right? They were misinformed by the people that invited them. I get it. But at that point, when the facts come out, you should be fucking going, I made a mistake. I completely denigrate that. But they're not. They're saying, hey, that rally was still valid. I'm still 100% behind it, but it wasn't a Nazi rally. It was. Okay? It 100% was. And I am showing the evidence of that. If you can't handle that, fuck off. Seriously. You're basically saying, I'm not going to hang around and see the evidence that it was a Nazi rally. Right, she's got ties to far-right groups. She just said something racist. Well, two things that were pretty damn racist. That sort of, we've got to protect European and white heritage is definitely a fucking... I mean, what are you supposed to say to that? What are you supposed to say to that? I'm not calling Nazi. Look, if you watched, you would have seen they called them Nazi. The people in the front of the crew were literal. Like, what the fuck is wrong with these people? But instead of actually looking at the facts, they just want to put their fingers in their ears and pretend like nothing's wrong. Look, there's a conversation to be had about migration, but that is not what the rally was for. Okay. Moving on, for those who can handle the truth. Yeah, so... Moving on for those who can handle the truth. And I wanted to sort of show a flyer that came up. Bam! Okay. So, this is the original flyer that came up, right? So, it had like an end to mass migration, no burning flags, and it's a very bad picture, it's the best I could find, but this remigration now, that was the original thing that went up, right? Okay, so remigration is a Nazi and racist dog whistle for throwing people out of your country. Throwing migrants out of your country. Remigration. It is a right-wing dog whistle for exactly that, racism. that got taken off, right? So this is why I don't 100% blame the people that were there, right? So that got taken off and they did some more acceptable stuff like this, right? That didn't have remigration on it. Things like this. No foreign flags. Well, what do you define as foreign? Do you, you define foreign as what? First Nation flags? Do you define foreign as Union flags, which shouldn't have been there in the first place? But this has still got the rhetoric. It's time to take our country back, defend our heritage, defend our culture. Look, all of these are dog whistles for Nazis. All of them are. Right? All of them are. This website, it was established, like, apparently we don't know who was doing it, but that remigration is absolutely a dog whistle. So with these new things up, I can't 100% blame people for going, oh, it's just about migration. That's what they were told. That's how it was put out. But at first, it was completely a far-right rally. And I mean, it's still a far-right rally. It's just, people may have gone to it thinking it wasn't as right as it first looked to them online. But that's the time to leave, right? When you have that as the central theme, it's time to leave. And Tori Swansiger said, message for 1 month. Well, how about that? Super fun. Yeah, it's some people would rather be wrong and, look ridiculous than actually find out about what's going on. So yeah, this was a Nazi rally. It was. Like, you may have turned up to an error, and I'm not blaming those people for turning up because they thought the rally was a migration issue rally, not a Nazi rally. But I do blame them for doubling down on it now, for saying, hey, no, it wasn't. It 100% was, and you've got to realize that. And say, hey, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to be there. I didn't know what it was. That's fair enough. But doubling down on it? No, fuck you. Like, seriously, we've got to call this what it was. We got to call it what it was. Now, I want to point out, this is what the little lads in your rally did afterwards. Now, don't forget, this right here, this guy right... Oh, why isn't it working? This guy right here was the Thomas Sowell. He was one of the speakers at the rally. Okay, this is one of the speakers at the rally. And this is what happened. There's no sound to this, so don't tell me to turn the sound on. There is no sound. Whoever had it on. See, that guy, this Nazi started the violence. This guy here. This guy right here. He started the violence. Right? That is definitely not. Now, people saying, hey, this was Antifa. If it is Antifa, what is Antifa doing with a known neo-Nazi here? This guy, Thomas Sowell, sorry, that is a known fascist neo-Nazi. Okay? If you want to claim Antifa, then you have to claim they were hanging out with a known neo-Nazi. Bullshit. I'm calling bullshit on that. Bullshit. That was no Antifa demonstrator. That was nothing of the sort. That was, these guys. There he is right there. There he is right there. Right? Right there. That's Thomas Sowell. So this is not Antifa. You have been lied to. Realize this. Apologize and realize that you're at a Nazi rally. So for context, this is a protest called Camp Sovereignty. It's a First Nations... just 1 second. It's a First Nations camp that has been protesting outside the sort of parliament for ages and ages and ages. It's been there like, I'm not sure, 10 years or something. It's just a small camp that the First Nations have put there to just sort of remind people of what happened, you know, on the original, to the original people who lead. Yeah, so the camp is two operations. Oh, yeah, 2005, actually 20 years it's been there. So it's in King's Domain in Victoria, so it's sort of outside. It's on a significant place for the native Australian people there. But yeah, the Nazis decided to attack it because, boy, are they getting brazen. Okay, that microphone, that has got Nordic runes all over it. Like, seriously, you can't make this shit up. You can't make this shit up. That is a megaphone used to sort of, you know, speak to the crowd. Yeah, it's, and do notice that it's all young guys, right? It's all young morons that they've managed to get into this crowd. Like, people that don't know any better. It really breaks my heart that this is sort of the you know, role models that these boys have chosen as someone like Saul. Like, seriously, what an absolute moron. But notice you've got, you know, all these guys on one side who are all white, and it's just a mixed ethnicity on the other, including white people. Like, these people are not representative of Australia. The people on the other side are. The people who have First Nations people, white people, people of Asian descent, people of Middle Eastern descent, all the different, you know, people of us. Like, why are we standing together and you won't allow anyone? Like, it's just, it pisses me off. It really does. So, as you could see, the people to start that violence were the neo-Nazis. Of course they were. Because of course they were. Yeah, and you know, that's camp sovereignty, which has been there for ages. No real reason. Just they don't like black people. They don't like black people. These are the people that were marching at the head of, like, right at the front behind your banner, and like were given a platform to speak at your rally. At that point, you are at a racist Nazi rally. And I get that people didn't know they were, but they were. And we have to acknowledge that. And I get that it might have been a mistake that you showed up there, but we got to acknowledge that and not just go, oh, no, it wasn't. It absolutely was. So this happened afterwards. They proceeded to go on and try and yell at the Premier of Victoria, which is like a bit like the governor kind of thing in the US.
Why don't you think Australians should have the right to protest? Hey, just don't put your hands on me. Don't put your hands on me.
They do have the right to protest, but here's the thing. Most people didn't know what the rally was about. Because don't forget that these guys and Beck Freedom and the far-right groups were the ones that organised it. And they prey on people's prejudices and their, you know, like you saw the person at the start saying, okay, I'm not racist, but, you know, we're here to do this. It's like, yeah, I don't think you are, but you are at a racist rally. That's exactly where you are. Understand this. But, you know, and what is so disgusting about this is fascists like this guy, he doesn't believe that people should be allowed to protest in his ideal government. He is more than happy to use protest as a vehicle for stopping protest. That's the disgusting thing, and we've got to realize that. So when he's saying, oh, well, people aren't allowed to protest, if you are trying to enforce an ideology which removes people's ability to protest, you shouldn't get that right either. No. Because you're trying to destroy it. We don't tolerate intolerance. Okay, Spillcap, take care, mate.
Listen to Alan, why don't you think it's straight? Don't put your fucking hands on me. Don't put your hands on me. Yeah, you don't have the right. I'm at a safe distance. You don't have to put your hands on me. Hey, just listen to Alan. Why don't Australians have the right to protest? Why don't Australians have the right to protest? Why do you want to ban us for protesting? Shouldn't we have the right to speak in our own country, you coward? Shouldn't we have the right to speak in our own country, you coward? Have your goons attacked me? You're a coward. And we're going to take this country back from politicians like you. I never see anyone shake your hand. I had 500 people come up to me and shake my hand on the weekend, and there was 50,000 of us. Thank you.
Yeah, there wasn't 50,000. It was more like 10, but, you know. But the thing is, here's the thing you've got to remember. This man is a fascist. He wants to take away any right to protest. He doesn't think people should have it. He wants to throw anybody that's not white out of the country. He is a neo-Nazi. You know, it's baffling to me that people, he can get such a warm welcome in their rally. I don't know if that amount of people, 50 people, shook his hand. I have no idea. Maybe he's just making it up, like the 50,000 that were there. I have no idea. But, you know, he was marching at the front. He got a platform to speak. At that point, you're at a Nazi rally. When a Nazi is allowed to get up and speak to the audience, and it was organized by far-right groups of, you know, that Beck Freedom is definitely a racist, because she wants to protect white culture and stuff like that. At that point, you're at a Nazi rally. You just are. This isn't like rhetoric, and I don't call Nazi very, very often, and I don't call it for no reason. But they call themselves Nazis. Seriously.
That was a coincidence. We're on our way to court right now. Thank you.
Yeah, that was a coincidence. He's on his way to court. So, on his way to court, this absolute tool got arrested. He got arrested because of that attack on Camp Sovereignty, right? Like he organized them to go and attack the protest that's been there for 20 years. It's a peaceful protest. Never hurt anybody. It's just a protest where people sit and talk, and, you know, just a peaceful protest. And this guy got arrested because he attacked them. And then he's got the temerity to go to a politician, interrupt their conference and say, well, why aren't we allowed to speak? Really? Really? And then you attack a peaceful camp, and you know, this is absolutely horrible. So all of you people, anyone that may be listening from Australia that says, oh, it wasn't a racist rally. Fuck yeah, it was. Don't even at me with that. And we've got people like this guy who are so set on their ways. That guy earlier that called me a bitch, he's so set on his ways, he can't even listen to the evidence. He can't even acknowledge it. He can't even open his ears to it. Because it means that, hey, maybe some of the things he believes is prejudice against people. So let's pretend it isn't. Let's just pretend. Make believe. Make believe that there wasn't Nazis speaking there, make believe that there wasn't Nazis up in front. And I'm not the one declaring them Nazis. They were. They were. I don't know. All right, let's go through. Who is here today? Hey, Big Bad Mama, so good to see you. Left-handed Jedi. You know, and like I say, Ian Chen is probably more Australian than I am, quite frankly. And he's of Asian descent. It's not, you know, he is a champ. He is an absolute mate of mine. And what a guy. And, you know, why would I think he's not Australian? He's Australian as they come and an awesome bloke. Absolutely awesome. Yeah, they were goose stepping but weren't Nazi. Yeah, that's right. Like I get that, hey, you got caught up in something you didn't know what it was, but that's the time to say, I didn't know what it was and I condemn this thing. Not, oh, it wasn't what it obviously was because I couldn't have joined something like that. That's how they get you. That's how they encourage these people to support them, because they go all in on this, you know, and you know, it's like those people that, you know, oh, Trump isn't a tyrant, and now they've got buyer's remorse because they will not acknowledge the evidence that is presented to them. Oof. Yeah, that's what it reminded me of, Mama. That's what it reminded me of. The guy in Jubilee. Absolutely, yeah. I don't know, mate. I have no idea, but you know, I am shocked. I hope a lot of people are shocked. Yeah, Spill Cup, that's exactly what it was. It was a penal colony. Yes, it was a place to send ne'er-do-wells and malcontents and criminals to get rid of them. You know? Australia was home. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely was. Was that Australia's only flag? Well, the red one is supposedly some far-right thing, but I think it's a naval flag originally. It's just these people have no idea what they're waving around. And to go to a rally organised by and spoken at by far-right elements and wave a workers' union flag is fucking terrible, quite frankly. That is awful. That is so antithetical to you know, what the rally was. Yeah, no, they're trying to, Spilker, they're trying to redefine the fascist Germans as left wing, which any sort of political student, a basic first year political student, could tell you that is not how we designate things. And they'll sort of point to, hey, they called themselves nationalist socialists. And it's like, yeah, I mean, that's like, you know, Fox calling itself fair and balanced, you know, like it just, they can call themselves anything they want. It's still far right. It's so weird, but they, you know, everyone knows how bad the Germans were, so they want to say, hey, it was a left-wing ideology and not a right-wing ideology, which is absolute bullshit. You know, I'm not, like, again, I'm not calling Nazi. They were asked point blank if they're Nazis and said yes. I'm not calling it. They're identifying that. What the hell? What a moron. So this was the guy in my chat saying, hey, they weren't marching behind the Nazis. They were beside them. No, they were up front and center behind the banner. Literally. Ugh. Hey, Robin, good to see you. Hey, Tori, good to see you. My Unfinished Journey, good to see you. Some awesome people here. Yeah, so that's my rant. That's my rant, and it disgusts me that... Look, I want to be charitable. I want to say, hey, those people didn't know what that thing was. Everybody that was there that didn't know it was a Nazi rally or a far-right rally or whatever fucking, you know, euphemism you want to call it to make yourself feel better. They need to come out and say, hey, we don't actually support that. You gotta basically go, I'm sorry for being at this thing because it supported these people. Because now that piece of shit is using the fact that people were at his rally, because they were the organizers, as all of these people support us Nazis. So if you were there, understandable, you didn't know what it was. If you were just some lady, you didn't know what it was. But you got to come out and sort of say that, hi, deviant, steal of our cultural heritage. Right. Vikings weren't racist in their descendants with a nation proud to be number one in equality and inclusivity. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, I got you, deviant. And here's the thing. It is so the whole thing of that Aryan, culture, pure-blooded, all that bullshit came from Hitler's obsession with Germanic legends and mythology. That's the thing. That's what it came from. And it isn't representative of anything in reality. It's just a absolute madman's reimagining of a cultural heritage to be what he desires. But people still think it is that. The Vikings didn't raid because they were superior or nasty or evil or stuff. It's just that the land was really hard to survive in, so they kind of did that out of necessity. It's not a case that they were anything, any of these mythological things that they're putting on them. It's just so crazy. This superiority of the white race is disgusting. It's just so bad. It's so terrible. But people want to excuse it. They want to excuse it. And I, for one, am absolutely disgusted. I am so, okay, so the anti-Palestinian march was a ridiculous number of people. It was a lot of people. Probably, I think about 10 times, it was about 100,000. This was about 10. So, it wasn't that big, but it was way bigger than it should have been. Like, I think a lot of those people had no idea why they were there. I think they were confused. I think they were, they have the far right, they have Sky News blaming, and what's interesting, when you looked up that neo-Nazis were at the rally, none of that was on Sky News, right? None of that was on Sky News. It's absolutely ridiculous. And they've been convinced that the migrants are all to blame for the housing, for the cost of living, for everything. And they're not. Like I said, there is a case, there's a discussion to be made about outsiders buying up properties in Australia. I get that. But you're really looking at companies, not people. Right, you're really like the migrants that are coming here with their families to make a new life and settle here, and it's not them that's doing this. It is companies buying up property and then renting it out for extraordinary amounts. That is the problem, or part of the problem. I won't say it's the whole thing. And yeah, and really, the governments haven't done enough to build new housing. That's another problem. There's a conversation to be had around these things, but just blaming migrants wholesale is bullshit. It's bullshit and racist because it's not them. It's not them. Yes, the Nazi. Yes, they stole it from the Tibetans. It is a sort of Buddhist symbol. That they reversed kind of thing. It goes the opposite way because in the original symbology it kind of stood peace, and I don't think they're big on peace. But that's my rant. I am really pissed off about how this is being framed by some people. Yeah, I know, Jess. I'm just really upset at this, to be honest with you. I'm really upset that people are saying, you know, from what I saw from Australian channels on YouTube, it was these people were not Nazis. They were just ordinary Australians. Well, tough. You're at a Nazi rally. You're supporting Nazism. It's time to apologize and say sorry. And you know, I didn't know what it was, which is fair enough. Like, apologize and say I'm sorry, rather than, oh, no, it wasn't. Yeah, it was. It 100% was. That's exactly what it was. But what I don't get is when they started talking about white supremacy, why you didn't fucking leave. Because that's the point where you knew, if you're booing their main speaker and he's talking about the superiority of the white race and, you know, cultural, taking back the country, throwing everybody of any other race out, why the fuck didn't you leave at that point? You're still there. Baffling. Baffling. Anyway, all right, let me get on to AIMBOT. So am I morally bankrupt? Or then we're going into Am I the Asshole on Reddit, and we are looking at everyday situations and deciding who's in the right, who's in the wrong, who, maybe no one, maybe everybody sucks. Maybe all the people at the rally didn't suck, but the rally itself sucked. So we will be doing that. I will be having a poll to see what you think. But more important than what you think, I think it's why you think it is really good. So I'll be going through comments, and I will be opening it up. So let's open it up. Sorry, I didn't mean it to go so long. I just, you know, it really annoys me that somebody will come in and sort of go, oh, well, if you're still going on about this, I'm going to leave. Really? You can't even listen to the other side? It says a lot more about you than it does about me, mate. It says a lot more about you than it does about me. Give me 1 sec. I'll grab this join link. And I will put it in the chat. Actually, I want to pin that. So give me 1 second and I'll grab the stream itself. And I will be pinning that in the chat. And just on one last thing while I do that, you know, we talk about the extremist pipeline, right? We talk about this idea that, hey, you join, you know, you've got this issue that you're joining over, you get funneled into more and more and more extremist stuff, and then you end up at a rally held by and run by and led by Nazis. Okay, that's kind of like, this is a microcosm for what's happening out there. It's a microcosm for people getting sucked into these extreme right pipelines. Look, I get it. You didn't know that that's where it was headed, but don't lie to yourself. Like, don't lie to yourself and sort of say, hey, you know, oh, no, it's not. It's not what it absolutely appears to be. It is exactly what it appears to be. That doesn't make me racist. No, but you're participating in racism. So stop. So stop, say I made a mistake, and acknowledge that that is racist. Not, oh, well, it wasn't because I'm not. Get out of here, man. Like, seriously, you've got to be on the right side of history here. You really do. So stop. Stop making apologies for these people. Stop excusing these people. Stop it. It's okay to make mistakes. It's not okay to double down on them. Yeah, I thought it was Buddhist, Sterling, but you could be right, mate. You absolutely could be right. Yeah, you could be right. Anyway, that's the link to join. Got it up there. We're going to be going in and evaluating. I'll just do the thing. Post it. Right. Poster is the wrong. Oh boy. And it is happening, yeah. Oh, we've got a joiner. Yeah. Mama.
Hey, Mark,
Just
mind if I
killed
come
the
on?
man. No, of course not. That's what the link's for. I love you coming on, Mama. That's, you know, that's what it's there for.
That was real interesting.
Sorry I got angry. Yeah, it's just upsetting to me.
Well, I mean, we kind of view here like we're on the front lines fighting fascism, but it's really a global thing, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, how
Yeah.
can
And sorry,
I
go
mean,
ahead.
how can we fight each other's battles, I guess, without, I mean, we're kind of limited by country. You're fighting the
Sure.
Australian battle, we're fighting the American battle, but I don't know if there's a way to coordinate our efforts somehow.
Well, yeah. Well, what I think is that they're trying to hijack national identity to be a fascist identity, right? They're trying to associate everything about the country with their own identity, so that you know, America and Australia aren't America and Australia of people from all over the world living together. It is a white culture kind of thing, and I think that is the main problem. That the amount of Australian flags, I felt sick to see them at a racist Nazi rally.
Yeah.
It's disgusting.
Do you think the immigrants are being used as scapegoats, that they're going to find a
absolutely.
reason to be racist no matter what, but they're pinpointing these groups that are vulnerable and easy to bully, I guess.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I think that Sky News in Australia and Fox News in America are doing exactly that. They are scapegoating these groups in order to gain power, and it's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting.
And we have worse networks than Fox, even, the Epic Times and
Yes.
Newsmax.
One America network, OAN, is
Right.
disgusting. It's like one of the worst. But I mean, I know that Fox is the most watched network in America, and that is horrifying.
I would say, I think a lot of people on the left get their news from different sources, whether it's bloggers or,
Well, that's true.
even
Yeah,
YouTube,
yeah.
whereas the right wing, they do get their news off Fox. So
Mm.
that's why I think it's so big. The numbers are kind of skewed. But yeah, I think a lot of the left aren't going to CNN or these kind of MSNBC or whatever it is to get their news.
Yeah, and skeptic philosophy, good to see you, mate. Real good point. And that's the point skeptic philosophy's said it in a way better way that I have, but immigrants are balancing the housing market. Yeah, they do use many immigrants as labor. And, it kind of is a problem that they need to be paid a decent wage. But, if you start throwing out the immigrants, the housing crisis is going to get worse. And what I was sort of saying is that there's a conversation to be had about overseas companies and investors and that buying up housing in order to rent it out, right? There's a conversation, but they're blaming it all on the people coming over with their families, and they're not the problem. That's not the problem. Like they are basically being weaponized against people when they should be against corporations and companies and these rich investors. They should be pointed at the right direction. But things like Sky, they want there to be division, and so people don't realize how corporations and companies are screwing them.
Right. And it's always blaming the immigrant as opposed to blaming the people that are benefiting off their cheap labor and that are exploiting them and
Right.
hiring them.
Mm.
They're never
Yeah.
they're never called out in the mainstream media. It's always, blaming the immigrant or not blaming the immigrant, but no one's really getting to the heart of it. I mean, I think we have the same housing crisis here where corporations are buying up housing and there isn't
Yeah.
housing for just your average person.
Yep. And it's a problem. And, there's also a conversation about why hasn't the government in Australia done enough to build housing, because it's been pretty lax over the last couple of terms of both the Labour Party, the sort of left-leaning party, and the Liberals, the right-leaning party. You know, it's been, but, you know, we've had COVID recently as well, which hasn't helped because it shut down a lot of the building efforts and things like that. It was a lot more different. So there's a whole bunch of things there, but just going, well, it's all the immigrants, it's just like, if you want to fix a problem, you got to find the actual problem, not just blame somebody for it. And you know, it's just, in America, they're just blaming the immigrants for everything, including crime. Like, crime? The immigrants are way less likely to commit crimes than you know, white people. I don't, you know, if you want to solve a problem, you can't just blame whatever you've got to actually do some work to find out what the problem is. But, you know, it's easy to blame just a segment of the population for everything, you know?
Yeah, especially a segment that's, you know, it's like they blame the homeless people too for things. I agree. Yeah, it's just, it's easy to blame a group that's been marginalized.
Hmm. Well, I mean, that's how they did it in Germany, right? It's the Jews' fault for everything. Everything. So, you know, and it's amazing, like, you see German people going, like, we recognize this. We 100% recognize this. It is that blaming all of society's ills on a minority, persecuting that minority, and thereby gaining power and having the support of people around you in order to establish, you know, a fascist dictatorship.
Right. And a lot of Americans recognize it as it's happening before our eyes. And it's so stressful to have to fight that battle, you know, as opposed to just living our lives and stuff. We kind of feel on the left that we have a battle to fight, or, you know, it's going to get worse and worse. It's stressful.
But I don't, apart from Bernie, I don't see many people on the left actually fighting the battle, like not the politicians and stuff. Where have they been? You know, I see very few people actually standing up and fighting.
I mean, the only one that's, I mean, Newsom is doing his share of fighting
That's
by
true.
trying to
Yeah,
get
that is
some
true.
additional congressional seats in response to what Governor
Yeah.
Abbott is doing in Texas with, you know, just on Trump's behalf. Trump asked him to do this, get more seats. So I think the governors, Democratic governors, will try to fight that. But yeah, I agree with you. Not much is being done.
Well, Newsom is also counter-trolling, which I respect. I respect it. You know,
it's
that
very
is
entertaining
great.
too.
Well, yeah, but it's more just capturing the imagination of the people, because it's so funny to see him use the same tactics and point out the hypocrisy of Fox going, oh, Newsom just tweeted this. He's absolutely terrible. A governor shouldn't talk this way.
Right.
And then he sort of says calmly, but this is the way that the president is talking. And they miss the point, because the right sort of says, oh, but he's just trying to emulate Trump. And it's like, no,
Trump
he's
came up with
mocking
that.
him.
That's his style, and he's stealing his style. You know?
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
And it's like, no, he's mocking him. He's pointing out that from any other person, you would think this is gross and unacceptable. Why do you accept it from Trump? And it's a good point. It's that cognitive dissonance, right? It's like anybody that does this kind of thing has to be a complete child. And Trump is the most amazing person. That those two ideas can't, because they're very aware that this is what Trump is doing. So either they're dishonest, which may be the case, or they're in, you know, cognitive dissonance. They basically have two standards, one for Trump and one for everybody else.
Right. I mean, Newsom has really triggered them, and I think that that's a good thing to trigger them on.
Yeah.
He's made them think about
Absolutely.
exactly what you were just talking about.
Yeah. And I like that Newsom's done it. But Newsom, as opposed to Trump, can actually stop trolling and have a real conversation that is nuanced and makes sense, because he's only pretending to be an idiot to mock Trump. Trump's an actual idiot. He can't seem to formulate a sentence together that has any coherence.
No, I know. It's sad.
So I do like what Newsom's doing. Yeah, I think that his response, but and there's an argument to be made that, hey, it's just going to devolve into, politics in America is just going to devolve into trolling. And I guess my point is, well, it has already. When the president is just an online troll, it has already. Like, I think Newsom's just fighting in the only way that he can.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
and it's like, well, if you're getting attacked by a guy with a gun, it's like hassling Newsom for picking up a stick. Like, no, no, he's doing whatever he can with whatever tools are at his disposal. I don't blame the man.
I mean, Trump does have a certain, I don't know if the word is genius, but he has a certain way of controlling the media, his own media, to where he's got these people worshiping him like a religious figure almost. And that doesn't just come about by chance. He's
Right.
done that purposefully through his political career. And well, I mean, I would say his entire career, but what do you think about that?
Well, I think that at a certain level, he hasn't fooled anybody, right? So if you're talking about the Fox News hosts and stuff like that, sure.
I'm talking
Yeah.
about the Christian population, how he's been
Yeah,
able to
absolutely.
control that group of people when he's obviously not religious himself.
Right. But I think that at a certain level, like if you're Rupert Murdoch, for instance, he's an idiot, right?
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
he's just a moron, right? Like, you know that. That's why I don't think Rupert Murdoch is scared in the slightest of his lawsuit, because he's known Donald Trump for a long time and knows that he's an idiot who will bluster with lawsuits. But, as soon as discovery starts, he'll probably drop the case.
Right.
I think that the people higher up, like, they really do know that, Trump is, but I think that they recognize that he will do, he doesn't really have a moral compass stopping him from doing anything. He will do it anyway. So that's incredibly useful for people. So they, I think that the they built this idea and this narrative around him that he's an amazing businessman, that he succeeds on everything, that he's right about everything. And I think these people have bought it hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah.
Just because they have such a hatred of their world changing to be more progressive that they will literally they'll throw themselves into the jaws of the bear instead of actually, walk down the path of progressivism. They will do anything to stop, their conservative America from being changed in any way. I think that they've sort of bought it hook, line, and sinker because they've been convinced by the higher ups. But I don't think the higher ups have any doubts that Trump's an absolute moron. I think that they just think that he is very good at doing the unthinkable, that he will do things that ordinary people would shy away from.
Right. There's this view that Trump was somehow a Washington, D.C. outsider. And that's why he was sort of popular. Whereas he's the type of oligarch, I would call him a low-level oligarch, but he's the type of oligarch that ran the politicians, that own the politicians,
Oh, absolutely.
own
He
the
admitted
major
to it.
media. And they don't get the connection between like corporate America and the right wing.
Of course not.
Some of them do. I think some of them more and more are getting it, that, with these corporate tax cuts and I mean, that's what Trump has accomplished in both his terms of office were major corporate tax cuts.
Yeah, and I mean, I mean, Trump admitted to it. He said that he would, like, he had given money to Hillary Clinton. It would tell her what to do. He'd give them money, ring them up, and tell them what to do, kind of thing. He outlined the system and said that he was going to break that system because he knows the system, right? That was his first term thing, that he was going to drain the swamp because he knew how bad it was because he had participated in it. Did he do that? No. It got worse.
Yeah.
And now, you know, you have companies just asking Trump to do stuff, and he does it because he owes, like, it really is disgusting just how bad it is. You've got people buying his Bitcoin for a chance at an interview with him, kind of thing. You know, it has gotten that bad that people are literally giving him money for access, which is what they were talking about.
And
you know,
they're totally out in the open with it now. I mean, they are coming directly to the Oval Office and giving him gold statues. And he's doing deals with them. They're like Apple, you know, is one example. But it's just so, I mean, that used to be like a behind the scenes deal they would do, and you wouldn't see it. But now it's just in our face, and they don't, you know, he doesn't care.
Yep. And I don't think, you know, the real hardcore MAGA people, I don't think they care either. As long as he keeps doing what they think is you know, the sort of Christian national kind of
dog whistle
policies. Yeah, kind of, but just more the Christian sort of traditional America, as they see it in their mind, policies. I don't think they care.
Right.
It's not the sort of grift and the corruption that they hate. It's that the idea that they're not working for traditional Christian America is what they hate, and Trump's framing it as, well, I'm doing all of this for you know, this heritage idea of America that probably never existed in the first place.
And they'll vote for themselves to get higher prices and everything, as long as he's not letting men into women's sports, you know.
Well, that's the traditional conservative kind of
right. Well,
rhetoric,
I mean, these
you know.
issues are more important to them than whether their groceries are going up or the gap between wages. I mean, they do look at that, but it's instant gratification when he does something to come down on people like that.
So I've noticed this, especially where Christians are concerned. They keep believing in other people that say they're Christian and keep getting stung for it, right?
Yeah.
They keep getting betrayed by these people, but you're supposed to forgive a brother in Christ, kind of thing. And they just, instead of saying, okay, what's, like, you know, as a skeptic, I would say, okay, what's the history of this person's behavior? What policies do they support? Would this be good for people? And I base it on that. Christians have a tendency to go, are they Christian or are they not? And if they're Christian, I can trust them. If they're not Christian, I can't. Where atheists have a tendency not to think that way. It is based upon the character of the person, whether they're Christian or atheist or Muslim or whatever. That's our tendency. But I have noticed, and maybe this is just anecdotal, I do grant you that, but I have noticed that Christians will just go, well, if they're Christian, I can trust them, because Christians wouldn't lie, Christians wouldn't cheat, Christians wouldn't do. And, you know, as a skeptic, you go, well, that's horse crap, right? Like, we know tons of Christians that lie and cheat and steal and do all horrible things, then ask for forgiveness afterwards. Well, we know this to be true, but they don't seem to think like that. So when Trump sort of appeals to their Christian traditional values, they assume that everything he is doing is in their best interest, even if that is hurting them right now. And I think that as time goes on, and because of the tariffs, obviously prices are not going to fall. And if anything, they're going to go up, because at the moment, some of those companies, they're eating their costs, right, until Trump takes down the tariffs. If he doesn't, they're going to skyrocket because the companies will eventually go, we can't continue to do this. We need to make more money for the shareholders. Let's increase the cost of products.
Right. And we'll be paying.
They're going to go, right. So, you know, I think that that's going to come to a head. So if that hurts them enough over time, even a really, really solid Christian's going to go, hey, I wanted the cost of living to come down and Trump didn't do that. But what's wild at the moment in his way of every chance he gets, he's like promises made, promises kept, like he's fucking changed anything. Like that it's America isn't in a worse position now. Like it's all, he's telling people, you now live in the greatest America ever. And it's like, what metric actually tells you that? Like what?
Well, he makes
I don't understand.
Makes up the metrics.
Sure.
And, you know, he fired the head of the statistician that were figuring the job growing rates and how
Labor Statistics Bureau, I think it was. Bureau of Labor Statistics, yeah.
And just fired them and put in somebody from the Heritage Foundation in that person's place.
Yes.
And so you're just going to get crap coming out of there.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I'm sure there's other groups that will kind of try to come up with the real numbers, but it's not going to be from the government.
Correct.
Anyway, I'm sorry I got off on Trump there. I don't know if...
No, it's fine, Mama. I'm more than happy to talk to you. I think it is the case, though, that like a lot of these systems, they're really like, because that's what happened in communism a lot, right? They would just put in, you know, Soviet Russia, for instance, they'd just put in, like, if they didn't like, you know, the results that someone was getting, they'd put in somebody else that was more loyal to the party. And, you know, they had a tendency to shoot the messenger, you know, whoever came, you know, they'd fire the person and, you know, he'd be ostracized for reporting that the Communist Party is doing really badly, and so the Communist Party went, "Hey, no, you get out of here, you."
He'd be killed.
You're well, you know, I don't think it was as bad as killed, but you would certainly be removed from the position and ostracized. So very quickly, people would learn that you don't be that messenger. You just tell them that everything's going fantastic. But the problem there becomes that a government can't manage its country with information that's not accurate, right? If everything's going fantastic, oh, we don't need to allocate resources. The Communist Party is going fantastic, even as it's, you know, completely failing. It's, you know, if you know, you're only getting good information back, the information that you want to hear, how do you address any problems?
Right, and we're dealing with somebody that's cognitively declining in front of our eyes. That's in this position, it compounds it, it makes it even worse.
Yeah. Oh, it looks bad. It looks really bad. And you know, that does worry me that he is putting in people that will tell him what he wants to hear in every department. I mean, look at the one that absolutely made me almost cry was the head of the CDC is now somebody with a degree in management that's never touched medical, you know, they have no medical knowledge whatsoever. How do you do that? How do you have somebody making decisions about contagious disease in your country that has no medical knowledge whatsoever?
Well, RFK Jr., heading up the human health, I mean, he's got no training whatsoever. And he's, you know, he's actually cutting funding for all sorts of different programs that are going to affect people in the future.
Yes. So I think that when it comes to a head is going to be when these things start impacting on people at large, you know, people start realizing that prices ain't coming down. That they're looking forward to this glorious day when prices will suddenly drop and all of the tariffs will pay off, and you know it'll be the glorious new day. The other shoe will drop when that doesn't happen. It just depends when, or you know there's going to be something really nasty happen and the CDC isn't able to deal with it. I mean the Texas floods got people really mad because he had taken down, a flood warning system, that was proposed before that happened. Like it was so obviously mismanagement. And, whether it will be too late by then is the question. That's the question. Like, will it be too late? Will Trump have taken over most of the media so they can't report on it? Will he have installed armies in a National Guard in all of the capital cities of the Democrats so he can't be voted out? Will this happen? I don't know. But, I think that having that conversation to say, well, what did you believe when Donald Trump told you before the election would happen, and how does that differ than your current experience, is a really good question. Because I'm sure they had something different in their mind, 200 days into his presidency than what the fuck is going on right now.
Yeah, I don't see much enthusiasm for him in social media. It's kind of just responses to criticisms of him, but I don't know. I mean, people are just looking at the migration, migration from Mexico issue is like, they'll just point to that as his, I voted for him because of that. And that's their only issue. There's people that are just one issue voters.
Yeah. No, well, I mean, they can be. It's just, what does it matter if okay, your border's secure, but you live in a fascist, totalitarian, a state that doesn't allow you to even vote? Like, what's the point?
I mean,
it's
even
so
that,
wild.
most people don't support the ICE raids that he's doing, going to Home Depot and busting people, or
going to schools,
standing
man,
outside
that's
their
fucked.
court dates, or
Yeah.
most people don't support that here, I don't think. They think
Well,
that
they
they've
shouldn't
gone
support-
too far, but
Yeah, I mean, they shouldn't support the idea that any police force can wander around without badges, ID, not forced to identify themselves with mask covering so they can't be identified. That alone should disqualify them from operating the way that they are. That alone. And what's even weirder is, like, you see sovereign citizens still support Trump, and they're the first people to go, oh, police have to identify themselves and I have all these amendment rights. It's like, what changed? Like, you support all of the amendments of their constitutional auditors kind of thing, make sure they have their rights. And Trump gets in, they still support him. It's like, I don't know. It's weird. It's so weird.
and it's all about states' rights for the right wing, but as soon as Trump marches in the National Guard into cities and it becomes a federal thing, all of a sudden, a lot of them don't have a problem with it, especially because they're in Democratic-run states or cities.
Right. Yes, that is one thing. The other is that, well, the other thing is that, I think somebody once said, like, the states' rights, it's not about states' rights, it's about certain states, the rights of certain states. And I think there's something to that, right? If it's abortion, if it's banning abortion, for instance, that's a big deal. If it's troops in your cities, that's not a big deal because we don't care so much about that one. It's not about states' rights, it's about states having the rights.
Right.
If that makes sense.
I would do away with all the states if I could do it. To me, they just create a problem. I would just have a country, and I would break it up by district and have representatives for each district.
I don't think you need to. I really don't think you need to. But I think there is certainly things that should not be governed by the states kind of thing. Like reproductive rights shouldn't be something that varies state to state. Healthcare should be a sort of blanket national focus. Immigration should be a national focus. There should be things that are federal on level. But if you have, I mean, in Australia, we've got roads departments. It's
Yeah.
fine. It works state to state. That's fine. That's not a problem. The police is state run. Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. You have the federal police overarching. It's fine. Firefighters are state run. But, things like education, science, things like that should be national run, as far as
I
I'm
agree.
concerned.
It's just when they don't, they're not national any longer because of some Supreme Court decision. All of a sudden, it
Sure.
does fall back on the states, and you have these states, like Arkansas or Oklahoma, where abortion rights are non-existent, or they will be. I don't know if that's the case now or what have you, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
The states are not a good thing always, because things fall
No,
back
no,
on
I
the
get you.
states,
I
and
get you.
the people that live there have to live by that, who's ever governing that state. And there's the electoral college issue with the states.
Oh, look, I'm not even going
It's
to get started
horrible.
on that. That is the craziest crap I've ever seen from any democracy, quite frankly. That is so weird. I don't even know, why you would have the electoral college there. It's fucking ridiculous. I don't know why you wouldn't just have a number of seats in the country with representatives and just the majority decide. Like, why the electoral college is it's weird. It seems like it is set up to provide a bias for sort of conservative, seats, basically, conservative states. I have no idea why
I think
it's there.
it's a bias toward rural voters, as
Rural
opposed,
voters, yeah.
whereas somebody's vote in rural Wyoming, for example, counts more than
Yeah.
somebody that lives in urban Los Angeles, for
Yep.
example. And it's just not fair. It should just be based on the popular
Mm.
vote, I think. It shouldn't be, if the state's popular vote goes for that candidate, they win that state. Or it's an overall
Well,
popular vote, whoever.
Well, our system's a lot different than yours. So ours works a lot different. So we don't choose the prime minister. The party chooses their representative, and then you vote for the party, not the prime minister. So basically, what happens is that, say, I'm in my seat. I have the two major parties running, number of minor parties, and an independent running. I voted independent because I can, and she won, right? So she can choose to, so basically the major parties, they put forward their candidate for prime minister. You vote for the party. They need 50% of the House to be able to form government, or else it's a minority government.
Do you have 3 viable parties in Australia, or 4, or?
No. Well, when I say viable, only really 2. There's Labor and Liberal, and those are the 2 major parties. But the thing is, if it is a minority government, right? So if Labor wins, but have less than 50% of the seats, in order to form government, they got to start talking to the independents, the Greens, the other parties, and saying, hey, we need you on board. What do we got to do for you? So a vote for independence isn't a wasted vote. It's basically, it can hold a lot of power. It runs a bit differently, but we don't vote for a candidate who makes all these decisions. We vote for a party, and the party puts up the candidate, which means that it's got a double effect. Number one, if people are getting mad, the party can actually remove that. It happened many times in the past that the prime minister, has been a complete knob end, and the party has gone, yeet, because they know that if the people are getting angry at their representative, they're going to lose the next election.
So before the election even happens, the party puts up somebody, and then if that somebody gets criticized or makes misstatements or does whatever, then the party will remove them because they might lose, I guess. Okay.
They will lose that, and they know they'll lose. And the party thinks more long term. It's more like, well, how do we keep power ongoing? So the interesting thing about the last one was just how badly the Conservative Party got stomped in it, mostly due to Trump. Mostly due to Trump. Nobody wants that. Like, there is a small minority that want it, but, nobody wants that. But the party can remove that person easily at a drop of a hat because they're the ones that put them up in the first place. Because you need 50% of the House, and there is no electoral college or anything like that, it's just all of the seats are separated into population. People get seats, and don't get me wrong, there is gerrymandering and things like that go on. That's definitely a concern. But on the whole, it doesn't allow that kind of, oh, you voted for somebody, you're stuck with them for 4 years, there's nothing you can do.
Interesting. Sounds like a better system.
Well, I mean, there's pluses and minuses to everything. The two things that Australia has done absolutely amazingly, and don't get me wrong, we got all kinds of problems. We've got all kinds of issues and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, there is ranked choice, I think you guys call it.
Yeah.
Number one, ranked choice. And that's not how the Senate works. The Senate works differently for very good reasons. But ranked choice and compulsory voting. And I will stand by compulsory voting as the bare minimum you can do for your society. Like, you just have to fucking show up. It's not asking a lot of you. It's not demanding a lot of you. You just got to show up to the fucking polls on the day. Like, seriously, you get the day off. It's not a great big deal. I've never waited for more than like 20 minutes. If you're complaining about 20 minutes of your life, to live in a country with a fair and free democracy, what the fuck are you doing? Like, seriously. It's not a big ask. It really isn't.
Is there no mail-in voting?
Yeah.
Okay. So you don't even have to go to the poll. You could just mail in your...
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
I agree.
absentee voting,
Yeah, I
there's mail-in
agree.
voting.
People should vote.
Yeah, it's not a great big deal. It really isn't a big deal. And even people that I couldn't be bothered, they just cop like a $50 fine or something. But, it just means that instead of parties being able to... So parties in America can sort of suppress voting in areas by making it difficult, by requiring this and requiring that. In Australia, the parties, if they start to put requirements, too heavy requirements on voting, like they start to say, oh, you need to do this beforehand and go and do this, you have to vote. So you're going to be pissed off at them, right? So the party that tries to suppress voting, people get pissed off at because they're making their life difficult. So, they try to make it as easy as possible because it's in their best interest too. Because the more people that they can go, hey, we've made voting easy for you, they go, okay, well, I'll vote for you because you're making it easier and these other bastards are making it hard. I don't want to have to, go and submit forms in triplicate to bloody well vote. I just want to rock up on the day. It's just, it's just a different change because when there's compulsory voting, they don't dare make it too hard because that will just get people really angry at them. And parties don't want that.
And here it's the opposite. It's the party that wants to make voting easier is the one that's the crooked party. Cheating at elections and, all these things that they accuse people of that they don't have any evidence whatsoever has ever been a problem.
Do I have confidence? Okay, so that's the other way a prime minister can be removed. It's not as bad as impeachment. They don't have to commit crimes. But basically, if 50% of the parliament say, hey, we don't have confidence in you as a prime minister any longer, he can be forcibly removed.
At any time?
And it just requires at any time. For any reason. Just, we do not have confidence in your ability as a leader.
How many times has that happened in your history?
Ooh, there's a good question. At least a few. But the same rules apply for state legislature as well. They can remove a premier, which is kind of like a governor. He kind of runs the state. It's a bit different. But it has happened in the past. I know a no confidence happened. I can't remember. Happened in Australia. It's very rare, don't get me wrong, but it can happen.
Unfortunately, here they just assassinate them. It's like that's the only way that people get out of office here, I think.
In 1975, there was supposed to be one, but the Governor General kicked him. No, it's never passed. No confidence has never passed.
Huh, interesting.
Yeah,
I mean,
I didn't know that.
We've had like 3 impeachments, or 4 impeachments, maybe.
Right.
But only
Trump
one.
was 2 of them, I think.
Only Nixon resigned, but he wasn't actually impeached.
Yeah, gotcha. Well, see, the thing is that usually before no confidence kicks in, the party will boot them. That's the thing.
Oh,
The party will absolutely boot them anyway. But yeah, it's a good question. I didn't actually know that. But yeah, I mean, let's take the perfect example, which was Tony Abbott, right? He was known in Parliament jokingly as the Mad Monk because he absolutely was a diehard fundamentalist Christian, like really, really bad. And he said some dumb crap, he said some dumb crap. They lost some soldiers at one point, and he basically said, yeah, well, shit happens on the battlefield, doesn't it? And it's just like, yeah, no, that's not something we want our prime minister. He said a lot of dumb crap kind of thing. And so the party just dumped him. Like the Liberal Party just got rid of him.
Was he the one that said he believed in a literal Bible? He believed it literally? I thought there was an Australian politician that said that, and he got a lot of flack for it.
Oh, probably, yeah. I mean, I know that Scott Morrison was a
That's who I'm thinking
sort
about,
of
actually. I
fundamentalist
think
guy.
of, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, Scott Morrison, he was, Tony Abbott was, it's on r/cringe, of course it is. He would say dumb stuff, and he wouldn't say dumb stuff. It would be hilarious. Can I open this in a new? Give me one sec.
Have there been any atheist prime ministers in Australia?
Oh, look, I think the current one is an atheist, to be honest with
okay.
you. He was raised a Catholic, but he was, living with his partner. They weren't married. They got married recently, which is fair enough, it's fair enough. But should I watch this on YouTube? Oh, this is full screen. Okay.
It's really obvious
Mr. Abbott was then lost for words when confronted about his comments.
Look, a soldier has died, and you shouldn't be trying to turn this into a subsequent media circus.
The soldiers shouldn't. I shouldn't.
Yeah.
But I'm not turning into a media circus. I'm showing you vision of your reaction to his explanation about what happened on the day in the operation in which McKinney was killed. How's that turning into a media circus? Okay, well, tell me, what's the context? And if it's out of context, what is the context? You're not saying anything, Tony.
I've given you the response you deserve.
So a soldier died, and his response was "shit happens."
Well, that's what he said to the commander. He's like, sometimes
Right,
in combat,
that's
shit
horrible.
happens, kind of thing. Yeah, exactly. And look, if it had been me, I would have said, look, the commander felt really bad. I wanted to make him feel better. And so really what I was saying is that sometimes things are out of your control in combat. And, you know, I wasn't saying it to denigrate the soldier, but just the fact that he couldn't put two fucking words together to explain himself, people were unhappy, and they're unhappy with his response. They're unhappy with him about other things, policies as well. But yeah, that is a guy that, basically his own party kicked him out. But what I want you to notice, right, was that reporter interviewing him. Do you notice he called him Tony?
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Right. That's Tony Abbott, right? Like, what amazes me about America is this pageantry of Mr. President or President Trump on everything. And to us, like when we're talking to the Prime Minister, it's like, oh, yeah, that's Tony. Like, he isn't some high and mighty god. He's just another fucking Australian. Like, he's just a bloke. He's just a guy.
Right. I agree.
And they might say
it's so formal here. And I think it's always been
right.
that way.
And they might say, at the current one, they might say Mr. Albanese and stuff, but that's like saying, hey, Mr. Reed, when you're a suspect of a crime kind of thing. Like they get treated the same, whether you're a person, just doing a job on a building site, or whether you're the Prime Minister. There's no special pageantry for a Prime Minister. There's no Mr. Prime Minister when you're, it's like, yeah, that's Anthony Albanese. It's Anthony. And it is this idea that somehow the president is this superior person to you that's got you into a lot of fucking trouble. He's just some guy.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, that even his cabinet members are all either calling him President Trump or
look, that cabinet
just
meeting where they sat around and sang his praises,
each kissed his ass more than the other. I mean,
yep,
it was ridiculous.
But people will watch that and go, "Oh, see how amazing!" And it's like there was nothing of substance done in that meeting. Like if that had been a meeting in a corporation that I've worked for, I would be like, "What the hell?" Like, what the actual hell?
Right. I mean, when we had staff meetings, there would be an agenda of issues that you had to cover.
Right.
Yep. And yeah, that was just an ass kissing session.
Yep. Yeah, terrible. But anyway, that's sort of our view. I mean, I remember once the I think it was Prime Minister Hawke, or maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was somebody else. But anyway, someone on the street just called him a dickhead. Like, it was fucking hilarious. And it's such an Australian thing to do. They're just like, fuck off, you dickhead. Like, it's just like,
my friend,
welcome to Australia.
My friend flipped off JD Vance maybe 2 months ago.
Yeah.
So that was
good, right?
Flipped off his limo.
They work for you. They work for you. They're not some kind of superhuman that got, they work for the people. They're there to work for you. And I don't understand this sort of, elevating your leader up to this, high and mighty god status. It's just some bloke. And in Trump's case, it's not even a particularly smart bloke. It's just some fucking idiot, Well,
anyway.
All right, let's do a name bot.
Okay, let's do a name bot.
Let's do a name. Yeah. Sorry, Big Man.
I'm
finish
sorry.
your thought, and I'll sort of get it. No, it's totally fine. I'm enjoying the conversation. I don't think we disagree on this. I'm just sort of commenting on the differences in Australia. But I want to point out too, from the start of this, we have our own problems as well. We've got literally Nazis marching in the streets. So. Yeah, it's not perfect.
No, I'm glad you covered that. That was really interesting.
Yeah, well, I'm not pretending that Australia is this utopia. I'm just saying that I've got a lot of pushback on this idea that people were at a fascist march, and they were. They 100% were. I don't know what to say. Now I'm going to go into these. Yep, because a lot of them have been deleted apparently.
Oh, that looked like a good one.
I don't know why. But that's an ad. I clicked on an ad, which is terrible. Okay, there we go. We got one. All right. Okay, Southern Analyst. Am I the arsehole? Adult daughter lives for free with us, wants us to pay to upgrade Wi-Fi for her. Stop using that term. First off, stop using Wi-Fi to describe the internet. Okay, the Wi-Fi is the local connection. It's between you and your router. Stop it. Stop it. Okay, so Wi-Fi is just the connection to your router. You may have wireless internet, which uses like mobile signals to provide your internet service. That might be a thing, but it's not Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi is just a local connection. Stop using that term. It's the internet. Like, yeah. Oh boy. Okay. What are your thoughts, quickly?
I would say that the daughter should have to pay, especially since they're living for free. Now, I don't know what the age of it's an adult. So yeah, they should, the daughter should have to pay for the internet for herself.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially if they're not using it as much as her. I can imagine they're probably not using it as much. So yeah, I mean, like if you're paying for the internet already, you can say, hey, you pay the extra on top of that.
The upgrade fee.
Like,
whatever.
yeah, right. Or whatever it is to do that. I don't, if it's, $59 a month or whatever, and you want to go up to $109, you just pay the 40 extra. That seems fair to me. That seems really fair. Because you're because don't forget that if you upgrade your internet and don't use it, it is just lost money. Right? It is just, you don't get that refunded to you or anything. I'm not sure they know how the internet works, but if you have like 100 gigabytes a month or something and you only use 50, you don't get the half of it refunded.
Right.
But it just goes. So if you want more, yeah, I think you can pay for it. I'm just thinking now, it must be irritating to pay for the internet and like have somebody take it all, that you need more. That must be irritating. Okay. We love our daughter and have a good relationship. She had a breakup and moved home in July temporarily. 6 months? 12 months? Okay, she's been there for more than half a year, at least. We are more than happy to help out, and she can stay as long as she needs to, but she is complaining about our Wi-Fi coverage and how it's affecting her ability to do her job remotely. She can be pretty frugal and asked us to pay for an extender that will cover her bedroom. We said no way after laughing a little bit. What the hell? They are talking about Wi-Fi. They are talking. Okay, so she's talking about buying a Wi-Fi extender. Usually it is a plug-in sort of just, you plug it into an outlet and it just is a repeater for the signal, like it passes a signal on. So there's some other options as well. You can sometimes get power line extenders, which they basically plug into an outlet and they actually use the electrical system to carry the signal, which is pretty damn cool. However, they've got to be on the same circuit in your house, so they can be a bit tricky depending on what circuit your house's power points are at. But yeah, they're not that expensive. Like, how much is a Wi-Fi extender? Yeah, they can be as low as 20 Australian bucks. They're like frigging, what would that be in American? Probably about 30 bucks. No, less. Like 20 bucks roughly is, maybe if you get a really good one, it's like 30 or 40, but it's not that expensive. It's not an ongoing cost either. It's just a once off.
I mean, it's interesting.
To be fair.
Oh yeah, go ahead, read the rest of it and then we'll.
No. Please do comment.
I just want to say there's 2 points there. We know she's got a job, so we know she's making money. And then this is the mother, I think, that's written this. She can be pretty frugal, which means that she doesn't pay for anything. In my mind, that's how I interpret that.
Well, I understand if they want to let her stay there, sort of so she can build up something to, purchase her own house, or perhaps she's trying to save for a deposit. Yeah, deposit would be the thing that I would think. She needs a deposit for a rented property. That can be a bit rough at times, I know. But Yeah, if she's making so to be fair, our AT&T Wi-Fi has always been spotty at either end of our large home. I have dealt with situations like that. Yes, extender is a really good way to go, so we can understand her issue. However, she's a grown-ass woman. She's a grown woman with a good job, making good money, and has significant savings, significantly ahead of where others her age, 28 to 30, are. Yeah, I mean, yeah, but that can be, yeah. My wife and I are retired empty nesters, and our Wi-Fi works perfectly well for us. She has other options to connect, plenty of room in the finished basement, but doesn't like to work there due to furniture, one room, or lack of windows, other two rooms. Okay. We can afford to do whatever we want with our house, but find it off-putting that she wouldn't just rent the extender and be done with it. Look, they're not even that expensive. I don't know why you'd rent one. They're not even that expensive. We don't charge rent. We pay for groceries. She has dietary restrictions, so she does buy of some of her own as well. And we cook or provide dinner 6 days a week. She cooks dinner once a week. We believe that her expecting us to pay for this since it's your house is over the top. Yeah, absolutely. Mind you, we're also paying for a family vacation in a month. Yeah, well, I mean, that's your choice. We get that children get used to parents paying for everything, but this one has us alternately laughing out loud and scratching our heads. She refuses to pay anything for the extender on principle, and so I guess it's on principle that we're refusing. Are we the assholes? Absolutely not, no. An extender, it isn't even that expensive. Seriously.
Is there... I mean, they made the point that she's got plenty of money. She's got a real good paying job. She's got plenty of savings. What is she doing there?
I don't know.
I mean, she is just getting a free ride there.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, is the issue really about the extender, or is there something else going on? Of course, we don't know that, but is there something?
We don't know that.
Is there something else, like she's not paying for anything?
So still manning her position, I think her point is, well, I'm going to buy something with my money and then you're going to keep it because it's for your house, right? So that's the principle kind of thing. And I see that principle if they weren't like covering really everything from rent to
food,
groceries and things like that. Food. Yeah, absolutely. So like I would get that. I would understand that position. But it's also that when you go into a house, you're sort of, you're taking it as it is kind of thing. So she's got other options of where to work. Hell, there's ways around this. My tech brain is like, well, you could just run an Ethernet cable through the house. Like, yeah, it might not be the prettiest, but there's also coverings. Like I've got one running to my computer because I don't want to be on Wi-Fi. I want to be on Ethernet. So I've got something that, a cable hider thing that runs, across the skirting board kind of thing.
Right.
And into the, it doesn't look that bad. It's fine. I can have direct cabling to my computer. It's fine. There's other things you can do. Obviously you can't move the router because that needs the, point wherever the point is of it coming in, like to connect to. So, but a repeater, it isn't that much, and it's a once-off purchase. If you're there for more than a year, I don't see the big deal.
I just think there's something else going on here.
Yeah.
I mean, the parent seems like a little exacerbated, that, if that's the word, that she's staying there for 6 months, 12 months. She's not even sure how long she's been there. And she's also, if you go down to the bottom, it says children get used to parents paying for everything. She's not a child anymore. She's 28, or I mean, she is their child, but it's almost like they're treating her, they're enabling bad behaviors of this daughter of theirs. Maybe I'm reading too much into that, but
no, I think there's, to me, that suggests that they have sort of, maybe spoiled her a bit as a child kind of thing, that they sort of paid for everything as a child, and so maybe they see it as, well, maybe that was a mistake, like
they're still
she's
doing
gotten
it,
used
though.
to getting everything. Well, yeah, no, I do agree with you, yes, but if see, here's the thing: if you're an adult and you're working and you need something to work at home, just like what I would do is just buy it and claim it back on tax as a work expense. It's 100% a
Right.
work expense, right? Like
And you can do
it's
that here for
fine.
sure.
Yeah,
I've known people
and
that
she's
worked
got the
at
money
home
to
and
do it.
yeah, she's got that's why I
You know,
asked what is she even doing there to begin with? If she's already has plenty of savings, because that kind of negates the point that maybe she's trying to save money for a place or save money for a security deposit. I mean, it says she has significant savings. Um, I just think they're still spoiling her.
no, I would agree. I would agree. I think that, if you have free rent, free board, free groceries, basically free groceries, except for anything unusual you want to get, and they say, hey, we're not covering the extender, just buy the fucking extender and claim it back on tax as a work expense. Like, seriously, at that point, you have saved so much on what they haven't charged for you. Is it really worth splitting hairs over?
Right.
So I don't think they're being assholes. I think they're going, hey, we're providing everything. Just if you need anything extra, get it yourself. And I think that's fair enough.
I think the daughter's taking advantage of them. So I'm kind of on the parent's side on this one. I think the daughter's taking advantage of the situation.
I don't necessarily think so. I don't
She's
know
not
the
paying for
situation that the
anything, though,
daughter is
right?
in. No. But that's between her and her parents. That's between her and her. If her
Right.
parents want to give her that, I don't have a problem with it. That's fine. If she is refusing to pay rent, then yeah, that's a problem. But if they say, hey, we're happy to provide a place where she can save money and, do all this stuff. If she's contributing to the household, like cleaning or doing other stuff, she cooks dinner once a week, which is a little light in my opinion. But if she's doing the dishes and she's doing other stuff and they're fine with it, I'm not gonna sort of say, hey, she's taking advantage of them. It's just that's the relationship that they've agreed on. But if they say, hey, we don't want to pay for an extender because you are living here gratis, basically, I think that's fair enough.
Yeah. I mean, that's the
But I'm
bottom
not gonna
line.
say, hey,
That's what she's asking, right? I mean, she's asking about this
Right.
particular thing. I just think there's more going on with the daughter
Well,
than
you could be
just
right.
this.
Well, let's see what
Yeah.
the Redditors have to say. Yeah. Not the asshole. Adult daughter living with my parents. Fuck that. I pay rent and my share of household bills plus my own food. What principle? Yeah, I don't know. I just if that's the agreement she has to save up, I don't. The parents can do whatever they want. Not the asshole. You sound like great parents. You may have spoiled her a wee bit. That's some top tier levels of entitlement. Maybe.
Yeah, see, I kind of agree with that person.
Look, I mean, if I had savings, I would just buy the thing and just go, yeah, I can easily get a tax deduction for that. Like, that's the thing. I mean, hell, I plan on claiming a couple of things off tax deductions for what I'm doing right now. I get an income for it, I'm taxed for it. Why wouldn't I get a tax deduction for it? Like, seriously, the only reason I bought it was to do what I'm doing right now. So why wouldn't I claim that as a deduction?
No, you
I
definitely
had to buy
would.
it. Right. This is what
And the
this
room
is,
where you're working is considered your office. So
correct.
it's whatever
Correct.
space that is in the room that you're working right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. So this is basically a part-time job. That's the way I'm considering it because someone's fucking taxing me for it. Like, if it's not a part-time job, then don't tax me for it. Like, this is the thing. You can't just have it one way, and the government can't just have it one way. If I've got to buy stuff to do a good job, then I'm damn well. And this is the thing. Like, it seems like, a lot of people who are lower income, they're afraid to do that. They're afraid of the tax office to go, oh, well, if I buy this and then they say, oh, that's not covered for work, fuck it, do it anyway. Like, seriously, it's just like, what's the worst that can happen? If it's not, I'm going to have to pay for it. But, at the end of the day, if the only reason you're buying it is because your employment requires it, it's probably covered under a tax deduction. Like, seriously, I don't know what else to tell you.
People think if they're going to be
This is not
audited-
financial advice. This is not tax advice, by the way. It's just
Yeah.
a commentary on people being afraid to claim on tax.
I think
don't be afraid to claim
people
on
think
tax.
that they're going to be audited by the IRS and they're going to come under their crosshairs or something. So,
Yeah, maybe, but you know, I mean, like seriously, like if it is, like this is the thing. Like audits are you know, they're really held over people over there. The IRS gets so, you know, they are absolute fucksticks sometimes. But I'm swearing a lot today. I apologize. I really am. You know what? Though that first thing got me so angry. I was so angry. My aunt could moved home and wanted upgraded Wi-Fi. He said, I'll upgrade it and pay the bill. So now he pays the full bill. He's also contributes to other expenses. He's an adult and understands he's living mortgage and rent free. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
He'd never in his wildest dream expect the expenses free on top of that. This is how respectable adults were not entitled to behave. I'd have a very firm contribute or leave discussion if I was in your position. Yeah, I would probably do the same. Like, you have a choice whether you want to get better Wi-Fi or not. We're not doing it. Take your choice. Your choices are your own. Definitely not the arsehole. Definitely not. What's other people got to say? Anyone commented on it in the chat? We do have a super chat from Left-Handed Jedi who goes Wi-Fi, 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 Wi-Fi. No, hang on a sec. Wi-Fi, 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 whiffed. I don't.
Can you interpret that? You seem to know about Wi-Fi, Mark.
I think his Wi-Fi is broken. Like it was working and then it broke a couple of signals into it before the end of that communication. So, yeah, rip Left-Handed Jedi's Wi-Fi. Rip. I don't think that one can be fixed. Yeah, Titan. No, I thought it was upgrading the internet signal as well. It's not. It's literally just extending the Wi-Fi network range. Like, seriously, it's not a great big deal. I gotcha. Internet is essentially the same as Canada in the US, but the price fixing by Pride is pretty outrageous. Yeah, there's a problem with that. And there's a problem over here that the Wi-Fi, the internet actually sucks. We used to have the best internet in the world, and then the Fire Nation attacked. No, then the Liberal Party decided to skimp out on the internet, and now it sucks. So it's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. Anarchic says, I recently ran an Ethernet cable and partner's computer, hit it in a wood beam. Yeah, there you go. Across the ceiling, cost under $10. Canadian dollars in 20 minutes of my time. Easy peasy. Absolutely. There are solutions to this kind of thing. And the reason why I know is because I've had to advise people on solutions to this exact problem before. And look, Wi-Fi repeaters can be a bit tricky sometimes, but usually they're absolutely fine. Left-Handed Jay says golden child syndrome. Yeah, maybe. Let's see. Revenue Canada is scary. They don't give a fuck, and if you don't pay them, they take your money. Look, I think they're a lot scarier than they actually are. You know, the thing is just to keep all receipts and things like that of anything you want to claim. It's just having that evidence that is the trick. I think they're a lot scarier than you know, because the people that complain about, you know, they don't listen to you, just usually they're people cheating on their tax. Like, I have noticed that.
That's true.
That the people that complain so much about these tax agencies are usually the people desperately trying to avoid tax that they like Kent Hovind, right?
Yeah.
Who complains about the tax agency and it's like, dude, you literally committed tax fraud. Like, seriously, stop complaining about them.
And
they did nothing wrong in this situation.
the tax agents.
Yeah, with lawsuits and all kinds of things, which is obviously, you know, trying to get out of paying your tax on the place. Just wild, right? Like, oh, who would have thought that the guy that was arrested for tax fraud doesn't like the taxation agency? Strange that. Okay, am I the asshole? Let's see if this is there. Okay, we've got one. Awesome. Skipping school for Six Flags. Now, don't tell me. I know that is an amusement park, right?
Yes.
Right.
It's a
You're
series
kind of an
of
arsehole.
amusement parks. Yeah, it's there's Six Flags Magic.
Right.
There's Six Flags. There's several of them. But yeah,
Okay,
it's
gotcha.
usually like a big roller coaster park.
Yeah, gotcha. I think you kind of are, to be honest with you.
I don't think that's a good
think that,
idea. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you kind of are. That hey, education's important. Maybe you can go at another time. Like, there's holidays for a reason, right?
Right.
Like, it's not like you don't have a bevy of holidays throughout the year. I think that is a bit of
And
an
summer
arsehole
break
move.
or summer vacation.
Right, exactly.
I think it's setting a bad precedent just looking at it from the outside. But
This Friday is my birthday, and I want to take my kids to Six Flags Great Adventure in New Jersey. What, you're taking them on your birthday? Like, is this for your kids? I don't think this is for your kids. This is for you. Let's be real here. It's your birthday. You want to go to Six Flags, not like, I'm sure they do as well, but let's face it, this is for you. Okay. It's about a 2-hour drive from where we live. I have a 5-year-old daughter who just started kindergarten and a 3-year-old son who just started preschool. This is their first week of school. Oh, come on. Oh, come on. The first week's really important. It's when they settle into everything. They start making
Socialization.
friends. Right. Like, that's a bit of a dick move. And sort of say, oh, I want to take them to Six Flags for my birthday.
Which they're not even going to
Really?
remember at that age, really, 5 and 3. I mean, they
Yeah.
might remember it, but it's like
Yeah.
it's more important that they be in school during that
Right.
time and start making friends and, just getting
Yeah, I
used
get
to
it's
the
their
new
first week
year.
of school. But seriously, like, why didn't you go before they started?
It wasn't her birthday.
Oh,
This
yes,
is
it
all
wasn't
tied
her
around her
birthday.
birthday.
Got you.
This is weird.
But this is their first week, so she could have just gone the week before.
Right.
Right.
She
And
could have
it
gone
wouldn't
on the
have
Sunday
interrupted anything.
before, and they would have been out of school, or any day they were out of
Right.
school.
My plan is to take them out for the day to do something special. Yeah, for your birthday. Ugh. The weather is supposed to be amazing. The park is rumored to be empty this times of year. Oh, my God. Which means no lines, and it feels like a perfect opportunity to make a great memory together. You're just going, hey, it'd be really good to go to Six Flags because no one's around at the time because there's school on. Let's face it. Wow. I'm especially excited about the safari drive-through, the water park, and doing some roller coasters. These are your favorites.
She
Oh
sounds
my
like she's
God.
about like 13 years old or something. I don't know.
I know, right?
Oh, it's a guy. It's the father.
Oh, my wife is invited too. It's meant to be a family day, but my wife thinks it's a bad idea and doesn't want them missing school, especially during the first week. Yeah, listen to your wife.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. She's
Oh, I thought it was a woman. I don't know where I got that idea from. You're right. It doesn't really say. So, oh dear. So I'll check my privilege and realize that it's a guy. I get that school is important, but we're talking about 1 day out of 200 and they aren't doing anything important yet. Yes, they are. They are meeting the other students for the first time. It's their first social interaction. If they don't go, they may come in late and other people have made friends and cliques and groups and, just give them the best opportunity to be one of the people. Trust me, it's a good idea. To me, this feels like a once-in-a-lifetime type of memory. What? You just said, like, it's open all the time. You just want to go because there's no lines and it's empty. Oh, my God. For them to say, remember that time we went to Six Flags on Dad's birthday and there were no lines? But now we're kind of odds about it. Holy crap.
because the wife is completely right.
Oh, yeah.
And this
So am
guy,
I the asshole?
oh, I'm sorry, Mark.
Yeah. No, no, no. Go ahead. Go ahead. Comment, please.
Well, the dad seems to think that the whole family just revolves around him, and that,
Yeah.
whatever he wants to do, they should just go along with it, regardless of how important it is for them to be somewhere else at the time.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's not, like he's taking them on a vacation somewhere, or I don't know, something that they actually will remember and will be a valuable experience. It's just an amusement park.
Mm.
He's not taking them to, London for a week or something that they're going to
Right.
remember forever. I don't know. An amusement park is, you're getting like, it's adrenaline rushes, basically, of being on the roller
Yeah.
coasters. And I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I think he answered my question of why he didn't go the week before, because then it would have been school holidays, there would have been lines and people there, and he's like, well, no, I don't want to go and have to go through all of that. So I think he's trying to say, hey, I'll just pull them out of school. And remember, there was no lines. Like, it feels to me like it's not so the kids have this memory of no lines at Six Flag. It's so he doesn't have to wait in line and stuff.
Right.
And the fact that he's so focused on what his favorite rides are. He didn't say, hey, their favorite rides are this, or, they want to do this. He's talking about himself and what he wants. It's very egocentric behavior.
Super egocentric. Yeah, and he's saying his birthday is a once in a lifetime memory. So, I mean, how egotistical can you get? He sounds like their 12-year-old brother that's dragging them out of school so they can all ditch school and go to the amusement park or whatever. But
I don't know how old he is, but at, 40 something, what am I, 48, I think? My birthday is, oh, it's another birthday. Okay, well, I've got shit to do. So, happy birthday. And that's about it.
Yeah.
I don't, at a certain point, and nearly everybody I've talked to sort of thinks this way, except for truly narcissistic people. Once you get to a certain age, your birthday's just another day that happens to be a bit special to you. You do birthday celebrations and stuff, that's fine. But, it's not this great big, oh, well, everything I want has got to happen on this day. You still got to go to work, still got shit to do, you still got to, do the dishes, you still got to cook, you still got to do all of this stuff. And that's being an adult. You realize that things just don't stop for your birthday. The world spins on. That is what you understand. So pulling them out of school, it really does feel like, well, the entire world should stop for my birthday.
Right.
And the first week of school, it's not just important for socialization. It is important for socialization, but not just that. It's kind of like, for instance, orientation in a work is really important. It's where you get told the expectations of everything, where you go, where the toilets are, where the stuff is, Same with university. They usually have an orientation day. You're shown around. And that first week is where you begin to learn what expectations that you have, what you're doing. Does math class come after recess, or do you go to the English class? Coming in late, there can be a lot of confusion, which is why they don't recommend it. Especially don't miss the first week, because that's where they learn what the hell this school thing actually is, right? So it is really, really, really just irresponsible to say, hey, I want to celebrate something, so let's pull them out of what is an essential time, because there's no lines.
Right. And everybody remembers their first day or days in a new classroom, because it's, you're just kind of feeling around to see how you fit into the situation. And that's an actual lifetime memory, an actual lifetime memory are those first days in a classroom. I don't know.
And it may not be a good memory. I remember it. I did not have a good memory in my first day at school. I'll tell you that right now. I was absolutely petrified of everybody around me. So now I know that I had sensory overload, right? I
Right.
know that now, but I didn't know that at the time. You know, it was just everything was way too much for me.
Too many people.
And I realized too many people, too many sounds, too many strangers, you know, like
Yeah.
it was just, you know, I absolutely could not cope with the amount of stuff happening around me. It was difficult. You know, and it's that everybody's in the same boat at, you know, that time. But, you know, you can imagine if they come in later and you have these groups around and, you know, everybody knows where stuff is and everybody knows that, you know, what's arts and crafts and what this is and what that is. And you're standing there going, like, don't do that to your kids. Come on.
And the kid's
you know.
not saying, "Oh, I'm glad I went to the amusement park," you know, instead of they're just lost, you know, they can just be
Yeah.
lost at that point.
No, I remember primary school. Anyway, we'll see what the people have to say. We'll just do a couple of these. Is the park open on Friday? It's not Halloween yet and school is back in session. Okay, that is like one of the only things said. You expect your 3-year-old to remember this? This isn't about your kids, OP, it's about you. Yeah, I think they're saying you're the asshole. Yeah. Did I do a poll for the last one? I probably didn't, did
I'm
I?
not sure.
I'm dropping. I'm losing the plot. I'm losing the plot. I'm so glad you're here. I really
Well,
am.
I'm glad. It's fun.
I do like it. I love when people come up that I can talk to though, because someone's got to keep me in line.
When you get a chance, can you
So,
scroll up a little bit on this one? Because I think you missed a pretty substantial
where?
comment. Keep right here. This comment right here. Oh, right.
That's,
Oh no, that's
just a
the thing.
repeat
Okay,
of
I'm
the
sorry.
thing. Yeah. No, it's okay. It's okay. If they're older, I'd probably agree with your wife. But 3 at 5, I don't really see it being a problem. Yeah, I do.
The
I do.
5-year-old. It's a problem for the 5-year-old in particular.
Yeah. Did the poster is the poster terrible for pulling his kids out of school for what's it called? 5 Flags, 6 Flags?
Six
What's the
Flags.
number? 6 Flags. Okay.
I mean, if you had to
Okay. I'm
pull them
sorry.
out for like a funeral or something that was a once in
Oh,
a
absolutely.
lifetime,
Yeah.
there's no
Totally.
problem with that because they are 3 and 5 for one thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, for this particular event, it just seems really self-centered of this guy.
Oh, absolutely. And the fact that it's not even like a kid's birthday, it's for his own, is just, you know, who do you think you're fooling, buddy? This is for you.
Right.
Let's face it. You know, like, seriously. I don't know, mate. It's basically daycare at this point. I don't know about that. Only thing is your 5 and 3-year-old can't go on any of the big rides. Are you sure this is the best choice of place to go? Yeah, but it's the one that he likes. You don't understand. It's the one that he likes. Yeah, and that's a good point, if that is true. You know, the ones that he's talking about.
You have to be a certain
they won't be
height.
able to go on a roller coaster. Well, I doubt a 3-year-old's going to make that height requirement.
Probably
to be honest
not
with
for
you.
for a big roller coaster.
Yeah.
Which he mentions.
And doing some roller coasters with them. Okay, I don't know what roller coaster he's going to be on with them. They could probably do the water park and safari, though. I don't know. It's still all about him. It's still all about him. Okay, what have people got to say? Let me look.
I guess the only point in his favor is it's 3 and 5, and so they're not at an age where, you know, I'm trying to think of when I first started to go to school, and I think I first started to go when I was 5 or 4 or 5, I guess.
I think I was 4. I remember very, very vaguely my first experience in pre-primary, which is I think about
Kindergarten?
4.
Yeah.
Yeah, kindergarten kind of thing, kindy. I remember having a lot of like, you know, I was very, very. I had a lot of friends that were girls at that time. Like I remember it vividly. Like I had a lot of friends that were girls, and yeah, it was a cool time. I remember primary school, way less so. But I remember primary school a bit more vividly. But like I said, it was a pretty horrendous experience because I was absolutely overloaded by everything. Kindy, not so much.
Did you play sports when you
pre-primary's
were
not so much.
a child? I
I
mean, I know you did gymnastics
really.
later, but did you do any sports
Yeah.
when you were? You know, I played
No,
baseball
not
like
really.
for 8 years.
I played t-ball,
Right.
but I wasn't very good at it. I played a little bit of soccer, I think, but no. I found out I was what you would call a latchkey kid. I'd never heard this saying before, but like somebody said, oh, it's those parents that were never around and you'd come home and you'd basically amuse yourself and they were out at work and, you know, you'd never see them. And I'm like, oh my God, that's me. That's 100% me.
So both of your parents were out working?
Oh,
And you
yeah,
at
yeah,
home?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they were never home when I got home from school. No way.
Yeah, my mom was she was a nurse, but she was a housewife while the kids were. I mean, we had that luxury of
Right.
having our mom at home.
Right. Yeah, I think maybe when I was in like early primary, but from about what would it be? From about I don't know, about 8 onwards, we'd just walk home kind of thing, and they would still be working, so we just had to amuse ourselves. So yeah.
Which wasn't a
Yeah.
problem, right? I mean, kids can keep
Oh, not
themselves
really, no.
kids keep themselves busy in
Yeah.
any number of ways.
Yeah. But Mark, it wasn't her birthday. Yeah, no, I get that. It's just, you know, it's not the kids either. Greg says, just take him to the mall and let them ride the coin machines. Tell them it was business.
That's a
Yeah,
good
no, I
good
get you,
point. That's
Alex.
a really good point, actually.
Yeah,
They're not gonna
that's right.
remember that it was this big amusement park with all these roller coasters.
Probably not. No, probably not. Misinterpretation says, I'm sorry I missed your show. I really wanted to see it and I got up a bit later than I expected. I did drop in and drop a like though. Misinterpretations was on with Ember earlier and it looked cool, but I kind of missed part of it. So, and then I had to put this together, so it's just like, oh God, all right, well, but I did want to see it. The wife's right, and he's a narcissist. He does seem like I don't know about. I get what you mean. Like it is narcissistic tendencies to organize this. I think he's being egocentric, like just basing everything around him. Whether he's a narcissist or not, well,
But we're not. Yeah, we can't. You know, we can't give a diagnosis of him. But from
No,
the colloquial term, he is a narcissist.
well, it does seem like narcissistic tendencies to go, hey, it's my birthday. I'm going to revolve everything around me and what I like. Yeah, that's definitely some shitty behavior there. Wait, he wants to. Yeah, Tony says, wait, he wants to go for his birthday? I assumed it was the kid's birthday. Me too. Wait until a school got full of shrink. Yeah, agreed. Okay, it sounds like you're epic crap. Okay, your ex was a complete ass then. Just saying.
I don't know why I thought it was the mother at first as opposed to the father.
I don't know.
I mean, it's interesting because
Look,
there was nothing to be said. There was nothing either way in the first paragraph, but I just pictured that it was the mother for some reason.
Well, I think maybe it's because that sort of that in the back of my mind, I'm like, oh, the mother's going to be making decisions, because I guess that's how it happened in my family. My dad was pretty well, you know, my mum was really the one making decisions about the kids, right? Like my dad was making other decisions and sort of, you know, they'd make it together, but my mum was usually the one to say, hey, this is what the kids need, or this is what we want to do with the kids.
Right.
And maybe that's a stereotype that we've got to break. I mean, I was watching Apostate Sisters the other day, and Nancy burped, right? Like did this massive burp as she does. And I'm like, and you know what? It was like my brain just went, oh, that's so unladylike. And I'm like, hold on a fucking second. If that was a guy, I would have no problem with
It would be funny.
What is it?
Yeah.
It would be funny, right? So what is it in my brain that is going, well, like, this is obviously something that's been taught to me, that's been lurking in my mind like a freaking swamp rat, that when this happens, it just goes clang and fires this thought. And I've really pushed back on that, because if it was a guy, I would be like, oh, that's hilarious, you know, and just going, why did my brain say that? Like that. Some of the things our brain pulls up didn't originally come from us. They're things we've been taught that, you know, they really lurk there. So that's the kind of stuff I really want to push back on. And again, like, you know, assuming the person being a bad parent is a woman, because usually they're making the, you know, that is something we got to push back on and say, hey, that's part of the sort of almost sexist patriarchy, conditioning that say this, and it's not really your decision. You've just been taught it, and we've got to challenge those ideas and say, hey, no, it you know, it isn't right.
Which is something that we're confronting people on who are really religious. We're confronting them on that all the time. And as you said, it's good to look at ourselves when these things happen.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. But I don't even know where that thought came from. It was so strange. It was so unlike me. But it's something that, you know, obviously I've been taught, and, you know, it's just lurked there in the back of my mind. But no, I think Nancy should go wild. It's like, yeah, if it's good for a guy, why isn't it good for a woman? That's...
Yeah.
Free the nipple. There you go.
I met her at the Arc, so I really love her.
Oh, she seems awesome, like absolutely awesome. So I don't even know, you know, like it's just, it's sort of part of a human's neurology that we're less one cohesive person and more like a bunch of people in a trench coat. Like there's these things firing that you disagree with and that you agree with, and all of these thoughts come up. You know, it's important to understand. You've ever heard of Call of the Void? Okay, so Call of the Void is sort of an experience that tons of people have talked about, right? It's when you're standing on a big high ledge and a little voice goes, jump.
Oh, yeah.
And right, that's the Call of the Void. It's like, and you go, where the hell did that thought come from? It's just a firing of a certain part of your brain, and it seems almost like another person, which is why religions sort of go, oh, they're demons kind of thing a lot, because it does seem like it's a completely other person. But what it is, it's the memory of something that has come up before that's fired off, and it seems like it's coming from somewhere else. It's not. It's coming from your own memories, your own brain, and it might even be a way to, you know, just sort of deal with different consequences. Like the way that you make decisions, you play out all these consequences. So that's the very worst to happen, right? Like you jump off this thing is the very worst to ever happen. So in order for the brain to process it, it needs to bring it up in the first place. So
is that conditioning,
it's totally
or
normal.
do you think it could be genetic that we feel that way?
No, it's totally normal. It's part of the normal human experience to have these thoughts that are strange and almost alien to you, but you never act on.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like you don't act on it, you don't make decisions on it, but it comes up as if somebody else says it to you, kind of thing.
Yeah.
People have often described it as like, you know, they have the idle thought you know, after work on a Tuesday of being on a train station platform and go, I wonder what happened if I pushed them, kind of thing, push somebody. And it's like, where the hell did that come from? It's a phenomenon that's been really, you know, it does happen.
Or flinging yourself in front of the train. Even.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. Like it's normal. It's a human experience. It's just your brain doing brain things. And, you know, it's important to understand that it doesn't have to be acted upon. You're not insane for thinking it. It's just one of those things that the brain does that's just really weird. You know, it's just something we don't understand exactly why it happens.
But do you think that's conditioning, or do you think that's something that we evolved to get to think of the worst possible scenario so that we could make decisions on where to go from there?
I think it's a combination of them. I think that some thoughts are sort of our brain going through those things. I think some thoughts are the things that people have said to you that you've sort of taken on board in the past and think you've left behind, but suddenly they raise up again. I think that some of them are things that you haven't really processed through consciously that you take on board, and your subconscious throws it. I think there's a lot of different ways for these thoughts to be thrown at you. But I mean, I'm not a neurologist. That's just what I think. But I think it's important to keep in mind that the rational adult ought to be the one in the driver's seat, because it makes the best decisions. So really try, and a lot of them are just fired by emotion. Like people in an emotional state will do things they would never do if calm and, that rational adult is in charge. So, it's important to try to be that rational adult, because it makes the best decisions for you, evaluating data. And so an emotional state or something from your past, or some kind of, a horrible situation that pops into your head, it's fine. It's just allowing your rational adult to, process exactly what it is, whether it's a good idea or not. And no, throwing yourself into the void is not a good idea. Your rational brain will go,
if you can,
that's a weird thought.
If you can summon that rational adult, some
Correct,
people can't, and they end up hurting themselves, right?
Sure, absolutely. But I think that, everyone can. It's just very difficult in some cases, and I won't go on to talk about mental illness and stuff. I'm probably not qualified, but yeah, everybody has the rational adult. It's just hard for people to access sometimes. I wouldn't say, it's impossible to, unless there's something really wrong, but that's the whole idea of therapy. It is getting people into that healthy adult mind state. And then, therapy doesn't cure problems for people. It's a way to get them into a healthy mind state where they can do it themselves.
Right. Give them the tools to do it themselves.
Right. Give them the tools. Yeah, exactly. Misinterpretation says, as a former school teacher, so disruptive for little kids. Fair enough. I think a lot of teachers would agree with you that, missing any school is bad. Missing the first week is really bad. Yeah.
Teachers would come down hard on this guy. I mean, even harder than you and I are.
Oh, probably, yeah. And I mean, it's we can comment all we want, but the people that really know are the people working in that situation. They are going to, I don't understand why people will tell teachers, oh, this isn't bad for my kid. And it's like, you're not the one, witnessing the effects of the behavior in the classroom. I don't know why you would say that. The lack of trust for teachers, I understand why there's a bit of it, but to me it's pretty bad. Yeah, I'm not a fan of school either. I really was not.
College
my
was
mum
fun.
never farted. It's against her religion. Craig said she was from the anti-flactuant branch of Christianity. Yes, those anti-flactuants. Terrible. Oh, I'm so jealous. Look, I got a BajaCon shirt from Justin, signed by all of the speakers and a lot of other cool people on there. I was so happy, seriously. If you saw the celebration stream, I was really moved by it.
Nice.
I was really moved by it, yeah. So many silent sisters. Okay, Warhammer 40,000 is starting to get in there. Okay, I think that's the last one we'll do. How'd the poll come out? How did the poll come out? Poster is in the wrong 100%. Dang. All right, everybody. Yeah, no, I think that guy really is sacrificing his kids, first day at school for his own enjoyment, and that is kind of shit, to be honest with you. It's kind of crap. Yeah, no problem.
That guy had no self-reflection.
Oh, of course not. Of course not. Dads like that don't, seriously. If you're going, hey, I have the opportunity to do this and I'm going to sacrifice my kids for it. Ugh, what are you doing? It's only a theme park. Maybe, yeah, I don't know.
Thanks for having me on, Mark.
Big
That was
Bad.
fun.
No, thank you. And Big Bad Mama does do content. I laugh at her shorts all the time. I laugh at Big Bad Mama, who is also Creationist Crybaby, who is also half a dozen other people that make creationists cry across the internet, which is hilarious. I haven't seen you do that many Hovind shorts. You used to do tons of them. I found them hilarious.
There's just so much material with the Trump stuff that I kind of feel is more important to cover.
Fair. Yeah,
And,
fair.
you know, it's not
Absolutely
just
fair.
Trump, it's the whole band of clowns that he has around him that, you know, all of them are just dangerous individuals. And so that kind of taken my time away from but I do go on Hovind's open mics. I don't know if you've seen any of those, but I've probably been on there 15 to 20 times talking to Hovind about different scientific issues. So yeah, if you get a chance,
fair
check
enough.
out some of those on my channel. They're the creationist
Yeah, I
crybaby.
refuse to speak to Hovind. I refuse to speak to that man. I don't engage with domestic violence.
Yeah.
Abusers. I don't.
Yeah, I try just to stick to one scientific topic at a time and just kind of call him out and debunk him on it, and then I just take off. But
yeah,
he's on Rumble now. He's not even on YouTube. Well, he is on YouTube. He's sneaking back onto YouTube
again.
Yeah, he's got at least 3 channels on YouTube again, and he's posting material on them.
Well, he had his Genesis Church one shut down.
Right. He still has Dr. Dino, and he's got one called Doc Dino, and I think he's got one called Dr. Kent Hovind. But he's just started to put the stuff that he was just putting on Rumble, but he's putting it back on YouTube, which is, it's really ban evasion if you get down to it. But
yeah, we'll keep an eye on it.
Yeah.
And if we'll let Emma Thorne know, because she was the one that took him down last time, and it'd be hilarious to see that happen again. That would be hilarious. He's so mad at her right now. It would be hilarious if she did it again.
Yeah, he just can't stand her because she's good at calling him out. I mean, she really calls him out.
Yeah, he streamed something on the Dr. Dino channel 2 days ago. We wanted to demolish evolution with Raw Matt. Oh, terrible.
Raw Matt.
Yeah.
The breatharian.
Yeah. The breatharian, yes. Yes, that Raw Matt.
Donnie doesn't have him on anymore.
Really?
No, he doesn't debate on Standing for Truth anymore. I think when he had the Genesis Baptist Church channel yanked, Donnie took that as a sign not to platform him anymore, which I think was probably a good decision.
No, he streamed something 2 days ago with Donnie and Matt.
Did he?
Apparently so, according to his Dr. Dino channel.
Huh.
Yeah.
I'll have to look on the Standing for Truth channel.
Give me a sec.
That's interesting. Because he didn't for a long time. Hovind wasn't doing debates for months on Standing for Truth.
Well, these people are sly. This is stuff that's already been. Ooh.
What did you see?
I don't see anything.
Yeah, are we sure that
So
wasn't
maybe
that wasn't an old video that Hovind put
Well,
up?
it said streamed.
Oh, okay.
Streamed 2 days ago. Hang on, I'll put the link in the private chat for you.
Is this from the Dr. Dino channel?
Yeah.
Okay.
31st of the 8th, 2025, Dal Boot Camp. So he's talking about, yeah. No, it's definitely from just a little bit ago.
Oh, if it was from the boot camp, then it was just real recent.
I think that it's Donnie and Matt on his channel, not the other way round. So yeah, he's trying it on again. He's trying to get back onto YouTube again by using this one. Slimy man. Slimy person. So I don't think maybe Donnie's not game to put it on his channel, but he'll appear on Hoven's.
That sounds right. That sounds probably like what he's doing.
They took us off of YouTube mostly, but I still have some things on there. Yeah, that's called ban evasion, you ass.
Well, he claims his YouTube got taken away, you know, and then I know Soot Kettle looked into it and he found all the stuff that he's the one that told me about the Dr. Dino channel being up. And
oh, Soot's amazing. Yeah, no, I think Soot's amazing. Look, he got his original channel taken away because the rumor was, and I don't know how true this is, it's just what I heard, he was buying subscriptions from a third party. That's what I heard. The second one I think was taken away due to the language and problems with it, and also evading the first ban. So, and you know, this one hopefully is going to be the same. Because he's just putting more stuff on there. I don't think it's monetized. It's only got 496 subscribers. But, you know, I don't know. It's very strange.
I mean, he had 220,000 subscribers on his initial channel.
That's bullshit.
But yet he would get 1,500 views.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which 1,500 views is not bad, but for 220,000 subscribers, it's not right.
Yeah.
The math doesn't add up.
The math ain't mathin'. Yeah. Oh, look, there's one of the Proverbs guys, Stephen, what's his name, on there as well.
Oh, Stephen made a show about Ron Wyatt. There's a conspiracy against Ron Wyatt, and it's from Eric Hoven and Ken Ham have this conspiracy against AIG conspiracy against Ron Wyatt and Ron Wyatt's widow.
What's the
Ron
conspiracy?
Wyatt's widow has a museum in her basement with all of Ron Wyatt's findings, or some
findings. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Findings.
So what's the conspiracy?
Oh, to say that he was a fraud. Basically, they agree that he was a charlatan. I think.
He was a charlatan. That's not a conspiracy.
Right.
That's
We know
very
that.
well known.
But there's a part of the creationist movement that think that including Hovind, including Proverbs guys, that think that Ron Wyatt found all the stuff that he claimed to find. The rock formation in Turkey is Noah's Ark. They believe that.
Yeah.
So it's typical Hovind. They're Hovindites.
Yeah.
And Hovind and Ken Ham, and of course Eric Hovind has a problem with his dad. But
yeah.
I mentioned to Hovind that AIG and ICR did not agree with certain things that he was saying were true, and he got really upset that I'd even mention
suggest that you have the temerity to dare to suggest that Ron Wyatt wasn't above board. I love this. Anarchic Fox, Emma Thorne is so good at knocking him down. I'm sure having a young woman taking her is absolutely infuriating. Absolutely. That would make him so mad. And the better thing is she doesn't fit the, traditional Christian ideal woman kind of thing. She's a bit more, alternative lifestyle, which I think, I'm not going to comment on Emma, that he's often called her gay or a lesbian or something, and I don't think she is. I think, I'm not going to comment on her. I thought that she might be bi or something else, but whatever it is, it's her business, right? But he thinks she is, and that's hilarious to me. He thinks she is, and she keeps taking him out.
That even makes her worse.
That makes him angrier, because it's like somebody who's not a traditional woman, whatever the fuck that is, you know, like taking him out. It's a woman of alternate lifestyle, or so he believes, kind of thing. I don't know her situation. I don't know her at all. So, you know, whatever she chooses to do is her fucking, I don't care. But I think it's hilarious that it makes him so mad. You know, it makes him so mad. That's why I always...
He's a misogynist. I mean.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, the Bible's misogynistic. Let's face it. It just is, you know. But that's why I always dress up as Hovind when doing gaming streams, because people in person...
He hates it.
He hates that, but he also hates video games. He hates them with a passion. So it's just, you know, whatever we can do to annoy him is just great. It's just fantastic. I love it. So, yeah. But yeah, anyway, Big Bad Mama, my friend, you are wonderful. Love seeing you. Thank you so much for coming on, helping me out, and giving your side, your opinion. I think we're on board this time. Usually we disagree on something, but I think we're on board this time.
Yeah, these ones were pretty easy, I think.
They were, yeah. But, you know, I mean,
it was fun.
I don't know. I don't, like, people go, oh, you know, who wouldn't know if that's right? And it's like, yeah, this guy obviously doesn't know he's being an asshole for taking his kids out of the first week. Like, you know, people actually have to second guess this. What it tells us is there's nothing written on your heart. There's nothing that is beamed down from you from God to say whether something is right or wrong. A lot of it comes from looking around our culture and going to other people and saying, hey, you know, does this hurt you? Does this, you know, is this wrong to do? Yeah, because it hurts your kids. Yes, but we just don't know that instinctually sometimes. So do be patient with people who say something like, oh, do you think it's wrong to throw migrants out of the country? Yes. Yes, it hurts people. Stop doing that. Stop doing... Do you think it's wrong to march with neo-Nazis? Yes. Yes, stop doing that. That is wrong. So do try to be a bit patient with people when they do ask something bloody obvious like that, because sometimes we don't know. We've got to talk among ourselves and find out. But thank you so much for joining me, everybody. It's been absolutely fantastic. Don't forget, as I always say, be kind to yourself. Be kind to each other. Except if you're a neo-Nazi, don't be kind to them. They don't deserve it. They're not going to be kind to you. Reciprocation is just as good, is another part of our social understanding of one another as empathy is. If people are protesting, you know, in order to take control of the country and stop protesting, they don't deserve that to protest themselves, if that's what they're trying to do. Let's stop tolerating intolerance, and I will see you in the next one. Take care, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Nagarete ku